Hello, what's up this afternoon, everyone? Welcome. Fine Tuesday to you all. Good to see ya. What is up, Cat Cam Fan and Death by Admission and Mormon Freeman? How is everyone doing today? Hopefully everyone has had a spectacular weekend and is having a wonderful week. So today is our last stream before Wilds of Aldrade. Thursday is Early Access Day, so we get to start checking out all the new stuff. So I decided, since we're probably going to play a lot of Standard after WoW comes out for a few days at least, today is a good day to do some moderning. But I couldn't figure out what deck to play, so I actually have 3 different decks, and I'm open to other suggestions, but I got 3 decks. I dug through the dregs of the internet to find 3 spicy modern decks, and I figured we'll do a little poll. Y'all can choose what deck we're actually going to play today. So we have some good ideas. Hey, what's up, Lucid? How are you? Old Town and also Bowerstein. Welcome to the Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big soup chip for you. Thank you. So here are the options. Heard CC meow in the middle of your last video again. She has such a beautiful voice. Beautiful and consistent. Cece does love to meow. She is a very, very vocal cat. As long as it's not the middle of the night, though, it's good. Are we gonna try to make 12 Panharmonicons work in Modern? We probably have to, right? I mean, I don't know what the odds are of it actually working, but I think we probably have to try. It is Panharmonicon. It's one of our most iconic cards. Oh, I'm so hyped for early access. Oh, speaking of early access, if y'all have decks you're working on, send them over if you want to them to have a chance to show up on stream, because we'll do the early access, play a bunch of different deck things on Thursday, and check out what's going on. So here's the 3 options I have for y'all to vote on. So here's the modern decks. So let's go through the decks. Then we'll do reminders, talk about some other stuff, start playing some Magic. So deck number 1. I saw this deck a couple days ago. It says Domain Zoo, but really, what drew my eye to this deck is it is the weirdest Calibrated Blast deck I have ever seen. So Calibrated Blast, we often see it in like a full-on meme deck where it's like, okay, I only play stuff that's 1,000,000 mana, Calibrated Blast a couple times, kill you from 20. This deck, though, is really, really weird because it's Calibrated Blast, which if you don't know what Calibrated Blast does, it reveals cards until you hit a non-land, and then deals that much damage to any target. Normally, it's all expensive cards. This deck, though, there's Thought Seizes, there's Lightning Bolts, there's Territorial Kavus, there's Renin 6s, there's Fables, there's Sauron's Ransom. Honestly, you're more likely to hit a 1-drop than you are to hit a 15-drop like Shadow Mortality. So it seems like the riskiest... Hey, thank you, Jimmy D. Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. This seems like the riskiest version of Calibrated Blast I've ever seen. This is Calibrated Blast, but you never know if you're going to get 15 damage or you're going to get 1 damage. So that's deck number 1. Calibrated Blast, 1-drop domain. Deck number 2 is a return of a classic with a bunch of updates. One of my favorite old school modern archetypes, which is Emeria. We haven't played Emeria in a long time. So Emeria the Sky Ruin was like one of our favorite 2016 budget decks. It's gotten a lot of improvements since then. Emeria just wants you to get a lot of planes on the battlefield and eventually starts reanimating things. The big updates are the One Ring, of course, kind of busted. We get Elish Norn, also very strong with ETB triggers, which your deck has. And then the newest edition, Eagles of the North. Everyone's all about Lorne revealed, but it turns out plane cycling is actually pretty good if your deck is all about trying to get 7 planes on the battlefield to turn on Emeria, and then later in the game, we plane cycle this, reanimate it with Emeria, pump our team, get in a bunch of damage. We also get Reprieve as another new addition, Abiding Grace, new-ish to get back like Martyr's Hands. So that's deck number 2, the new and improved 2023 mono white Emeria. The last deck, also a little bit risky. This is... I don't know who builds these decks. Seriously, Magic Online players. So this is a free spell deck, essentially. It is a Cascade deck. We've seen Crashing Footfalls be a very powerful Cascade deck. The thing about this deck that makes it interesting is we're playing all the Cascade stuff, but we're not just playing Crashing Footfalls. Normally, Crashing Footfall decks, you're always cascading into Crashing Footfalls. So it gets a little redundant. It gets a little boring, because you always know, oh, I cast a Cascade spell and get a couple Rhinos. This deck, though, solves that problem, because we're not just playing Crashing Footfalls. In fact, we only have 2 Crashing Footfalls. Instead, we have Crashing Footfalls, Ancestral Vision, and 4 Restore Balances. So we're essentially playing Cascade the way it was intended to play. We don't really know what we're going to hit. Maybe we want Rhinos, and we get a Restore Balance, and Wrath everything. Maybe we want some card draw, and we get Rhinos. Maybe we want a Restore Balance, and we end up with some card draw. Who knows what'll happen? So those are the options. I think all these decks look fun, and we might play them all eventually, but those are the 3 decks to choose from. So I'm going to put up a poll for the next few minutes. For the next 5 minutes, let's say, we will have voting open. You can vote at the top of the stream. So as we're doing our reminders, vote for which deck you want to see. Quick refresher. So, Domain Zoo, the weird Calibrated Blast 1-drop deck, Eagle Emeria, Mono Weight Emeria with a bunch of 2023 updates, or the riskiest Restore Balance deck, cascading into who knows what, but cascading into something, hoping for the best. Vote now, get in your picks for what we should play. They all seem pretty amusing to me. So, how has everyone been? Why no Path to Exile to ramp? The Richard technique. Should have not subbed yet for bribing purposes. Does the Calibrated Blast deck play Witch's Cottage? The Calibrated Blast deck has 2 copies of Witch's Cottage, so yes. I guess that's idea is like, you somehow get a Shadow Mortality in the graveyard, you Fable it in the graveyard and put it on top. So I guess that's the way you're supposed to control it. It's funnier if you don't, though, and just go for it. Yoda Man, welcome to the Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big super here for you. Thank you. So the trick with Greater Gargadon, Restore Balance makes each player sack lands to the lowest amount of lands on the battlefield. Discard cards, sack creatures the same way. So the trick is you suspend Greater Gargadon, and then when you restore balance, you can sack all your lands to make your opponent sack all their lands, and then eventually Gargadon's going to come off suspend. In theory, your opponent can't deal with it because they got no lands anymore, and the Gargadon wins the game. So it's a very old school restore balance trick to let you sack your lands to power up restore balance. Hey Seth, watching your Vintage Cube stream, the other computer. It's a lot of Seth. Vintage Cube is so much fun. I do enjoy it. Is Thopter's Sword on the list? These are the only 3 decks I actually put together, although Thopter's Sword could be a fun one to play at some point. It feels like you aren't clicking on the client enough. Wait, should I be clicking more? Am I not clicking enough? Hey, what's up, Paladin? How are you? Good to see ya. So reminders, replay YouTube. That's when we find all the old streams, including this one in the future. Normal YouTube. Spoiler stuff wrapping up. We got normal gameplay videos this week. And then, the end of the week, we'll have Wilds of Eldraine stuff kicking off. So keep an eye out for that on the YouTube. A reminder that our sponsor today is Card Kingdom. If you need some magical cards, you can get them over at cardkingdom.com/mtdgoldfish. If you get a free goldfish sticker, just let them know you want one in your order notes and they'll hook you up. Did you see the list, my list of Calibrated Blast? I didn't. What's your list, Claw Craver? Curious if you got the Blood Moons. I believe they are at the P.O. Box, but I haven't got them from the P.O. Box yet. But I believe they are there, so I should be able to snag them shortly. Kamikaze! Yeah, Restore Balance does look fun. As far as other news, we got a new run of secret lair drops. I'm curious what y'all think of a couple of these drops in specific. So there's only 2 that I actually really care that much about. Like, there's so many secret lair drops these days. The 2 I gotta ask you about. First, what do you think of this baseball drop? Is this cool, or I'm very on the fence. I like it. I think it's cool. But at the same time, I can't shake the feeling that it's kind of selling us not great cards like anymore. That's the thing about these secret lair drops. They have like cool designs. I think the baseball card design is neat and it's unique, but is the original Lorwyn Planeswalkers, what am I going to do with them in 2023? So it's like interesting designs that I like, but I don't know if I can actually do anything with the cards. Like that's the problem. What do I do with these? Do I like put them on a shelf or something? I still kind of want to get them just because it is super unique. And I remember like as a kid having sports cards, and it does look like old sport cards. It's cool that the back you got the stats and you got to like flip it around or whatever. The other one that is worth noting is the now on VHS drop. And the thing about this drop is Wizards accidentally just gave us a bunch of free money. I'm sure this was not intentional. So this drop, Secret Lair drops, $30 is the price plus shipping for the non-foil ones. The thing about this drop is it has the first sliver. The first sliver by itself is like $55 right now, which is kind of ridiculous. When Wizards made the Secret Lair drop, it was like a $15 card. So I think their plan was, okay, $15 first sliver, $20 food chain, couple random commons. That's like $35 value in a $30 drop. That's good enough. But then they didn't reprint the first sliver and they did the sliver precon, and first sliver just spiked up to like $55 or $60. So now this drop is super duper worth it from a financial perspective. And it's very worth it if you're someone who's trying to upgrade your sliver precon. Like, this is just the cheapest way to get a first sliver if that's something you're interested in and you're trying to like make this sliver precon deck a little bit better. So I think this deck accidentally is a really, really good secret layer drop. But like I said, I don't think they tried to do that. I think it was supposed to be like a $35 value secret layer drop, which kind of lines up with the rest. The rest of them, I feel like Wizards has stopped making valuable secret layer drops. They probably hired a financial analyst to maximize reprint equity, and it does feel very calculated, right? If you look at these drops, the value outside of the one with first sliver spiking, the value is very consistently around like $25-ish. Like in general, $20, $25, maybe $30. They sell them for $30. So it feels like they intentionally put just a little bit less value than the cost, and then they expect you to be like, okay, well, I'm getting $25 worth of cards, plus it's unique art, so I'll pay an extra $5 to get the art and then buy the secret layer drop. The days seem to be gone, though, where there's like $50 or $100 worth of, remember the Dragon drop in like some of the early secret layer drops where it was just like really, really full of valuable cards? I feel like we don't get those much anymore at this point. I've gotten to the point where the double face cards are inconvenience to use, so I don't like that. Most of my sleeves are see-through to the point where it's inconvenience. Yeah, that is kind of an issue, and that is an issue with the baseball cards as well. What is winning our poll? Where are we doing with our poll? View results. Let's see, what do we got? Wow, Emeria with a super easy win. I'm actually surprised. I thought it would be closer than that. So Emeria 48%, Restore Balance Cascade 29, Calibrated Blast 23. Well, I guess we're doing some Emeriaing, which I'm kind of happy about because I do really love Emeria. Emeria is just such a cool archetype. Not even the first sliver one. I'm curious. So okay, even if you're someone who doesn't like secret layer drops, is it worth just getting the first sliver one just because of the value, or is it not actually worth it? Oh, the other thing we got today is spoiler season. I swear to God, it literally never ends. So out of the blue, some random new Doctor Who cards a couple of days after Wilds of Eldraine spoilers ended, which was a couple of days after Commander Master spoilers ended. So yes, more Doctor Who news. I'm curious, what is the hype level? What is the hype level for Doctor Who? Is this something you're excited for? So some of the new cards, we already have seen the Doctors. I don't know if we got this before. The Donna Noble 4-mana 2/4 Doctor Companion Soul Bond, so it can pair with another creature. Whenever another creature is paired with is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target opponent. So kind of like a stuffy Dow Soul Bond. The saga is kind of interesting. 3-mana saga, the girl in the fireplace, whatever that means. Lore counter 1, make a 1/1 human noble creature token with vanishing 3 and prevent all damage that would be dealt to this creature. Create a 2/2 white horse creature token with doctors you control have horsemanship. And then lore counter number 3, when a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, time travel. I do not understand anything about the flavor of this card. I don't know what's going. I am sure. I expect if you're a big Doctor Who fan, this makes complete sense. You're like, oh, this reference is that. This reference is that. I see just a very wonky magic card. But if you actually go through it, so you get a 1/1, a 2/2, and then I believe time traveling is remove a suspend counter, so you get to remove some suspend counters. The horse is kind of neat, except you got to be playing doctors. But then if you're playing maybe like Maskwood Nexus to make all your creatures doctors, do we... Magic is so wonky these days. Like, doctors. We have doctors in Magic, and they have horsemanship. Fugitive of the Jundoon. 5-mana saga. Lore counter 1. Create a 1/1 white human creature token with Ward 2 and a 4/4 white alien rhino creature token. Alien Rhino creature token. Investigate lore counter number 2. Lore counter 3, you can exile a human you control, an artifact you control. If you do, search your library for a doctor. Put it on the battlefield and shuffle. One thing about these Universes Beyond sets is I feel like they are accidentally superpowering changelings. Aren't changelings just like ridiculous with cards like this? I feel like all of these things are just like absurd for like Tomer's like tribal deck or whatever. You're playing a deck with a bunch of changelings. The power of these cards is very limited by the fact that they only get doctors, and doctors only exist in this one Doctor Who product, and there's like none of them. But if you get a bunch of changelings and you're able to tutor those out as well, I feel like that makes it way, way, way more powerful. City of Death, 3 mana saga. Lower counter 1, make a treasure. Lower counters 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Create a token that's a copy of target non-saga token you control. That is actually a lot of copying over the course of a lot of turns. That might actually be a pretty good saga. And the last one, Weeping Angel, 3 mana 2/2 flying alien angel. Alien, now an official creature type. Flash First Strike Vigilance. Whenever an opponent casts a creature spell, if it isn't a creature, whenever an opponent casts a creature spell, Weeping Angel isn't a creature spell until end of turn. If Weeping Angel would deal combat damage to a creature, prevent that damage, and that creature's owner shuffles it into their library. Wait, this card is so confusing. Okay, so 3 mana 2/2, Flash Flying Vigilance. Whenever opponent casts a creature spell, it isn't in creature until ended. So it just, what is it then? It's, what will it be if it's not a creature? I'm so confused. What, it exists, right? But it's not anything, but it still exists. It's just an art, I guess. So if you erase creature, it's just an artifact. What a weird card. And then if it would deal combat damage to a creature, prevent that damage in the creature's owner. So with like removals, that actually is like a good card, right? It's a good, so it's 3 mana, you flash it in once you're being attacked. It has First Strike, so it's going to deal combat damage first, and then whatever it blocks is going to get shuffled into its opponent, your opponent's library. So it gets rid of anything. That's actually like that card actually seems very good. I don't know where you play it. It's a Dimir Alien Angel. It's not legal outside of Commander, but AGK mark. But anyway, new Doctor Who cards. Welcome to the Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big Zoom J for you. Hey, what's up, Jesse? How are you? Good to see you. It's exactly how vehicles work. They just gain lose. Interesting. I don't think we've ever had a creature that's done that before. Could this be playing Legacy? Maybe. I mean, it does have Flash and Flying. It's only 3 mana. There is like Esper Ether Vial decks that could maybe take advantage of it. It technically takes down like an Emrakul, right? Like if Emrakul attacks you and you survive the Annihilation, you can put that into play block and like get rid of the Emrakul. Anyway, let's talk about this deck. Jump into a league. And as we go along, we can talk about wilds, cats, Doctor Who, aliens, alien rhinos. Typical Magic stuff. Actually, no, I got one more question. Okay, let's talk about the deck and get in the league, and then I'll ask you the question. So this is Eagle Emeria. This is 2023 mono white Emeria. So we've played Emeria in the past. It's a classic. Emeria, our namesake land, if we get up to 7 planes, it just reanimates something from our graveyard for free on our upkeep. So in the late game, this gets back anything we want from our graveyard, and we have stuff like Martyr of Sands, which can sack itself to gain a bunch of life. We have stuff like Solitude, which we can evoke to get in the graveyard. We have Ranger Captain of Eos, which can sacrifice itself to silence non-creature spells from our opponent for a turn. So we have a lot of stuff that can loop from the graveyard. So how do we get to Emeria? Our sneaky new plan is Eagles of the North. This is the white member of the land cycling cycle from the Lord of the Rings set. So yes, it's a 6 mana 3/3 flying. We're never going to actually cast it, hopefully. The big deal is it plane cycles for 1 mana. So for 1 mana, we can discard this, grab a planes from our deck, and then also get Eagles into the graveyard for Emeria in the future. So that's basically the goal of the deck. Otherwise, we're kind of just like trying to stay alive. We get Skyclaves for removal, we get Life Gain from Martyr of Sands, we get Reprieves, our new mono white counterspell, our mono white remand. The One Ring, of course, is super busted. Abiding Grace does some cool loopy stuff. We can reanimate a 1 mana value creature every turn, so we can keep getting back Martyr of Sands to gain a ton of life. So we're kind of soul sisters in a weird way. So that's the plan of the deck. Basically mono white graveyard mid-range control, essentially. And I'm actually really excited to see if this deck actually can work. Is this deck actually good in 2023? How much do these new additions matter? Because Emeria is a really just a cool archetype. You keep saying flying, wait. Oh, it doesn't. The angel does. Wait, the angel doesn't have flying? No, hang on. Is that true? Wait, is that an angel that doesn't fly? You're right, it doesn't. My God, look at those wings! Look at those wings, wizards. I don't know anything. I know literally nothing about Doctor Who. I have never watched an episode of Doctor Who, but I do know a little bit about angels. And I know that wings typically mean you fly. Look at those wings. Look at that art. That's like old school whippoorwill flavor fail there. Do they have wings though? Wait, so in Doctor Who, you have angels with massive wings, but what are the wings for then? Why wings? Evolution has failed us. Do they have wings in Doctor Who? Is that what they look like? So they're just like ornamental wings, just to look cool? I do not understand angel culture. Okay, yeah, you're right, it doesn't fly. That actually makes it quite a bit worse than I was thinking. First Strike is really good with its ability, but yeah, I don't know why. I guess just seeing Angel and the wings in the art, it just seemed like it should have flying, but it actually does not. It does not fly. Google Weeping Angel. Is this a trick? Is this a trick? Weeping Angel. All right, let's see. Weeping Angel, Wikipedia. Wikipedia is pretty accurate, right? Weeping Angel is a race of predatory creatures from the long-running science fiction series Doctor Who, was introduced in the 2007 episode Blink. Actually, when I asked what episodes to watch, I'm pretty sure Blink was like the first one that people recommended. So it's on my Doctor Who list to watch before the set releases. But I don't understand, what does this have to do with... Okay, in their usual form, they resemble silent human-sized stone statues. Stone statue, okay. So they're statues? Like a tomb statue in a Victorian garden. As they close in and are more aware of victims, they transform into horrific, bestial, and demonic aspects with wide-open mouths, vampiric teeth, and clawed hands. Oh, okay. Wait, are they evil then? Are they good or bad? Are the angels like the bad guys? Doesn't it seem like you should not have wings on art that doesn't have flying? Wizards. The question I wanted to... Oh, they are evil. Doctor Who is wild. Evil angels. Evil angels that don't fly. So different than magic. 5.5. Oh, did I miss a sub? Oh, Swig for 0. My apologies. For the 66th month. That is definitely wild. Welcome back to the Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big super for you. Thank you. Yeah, Blink is one that I'm gonna watch. It's on my list. The list of Doctor Who episodes that must be watched. Hopefully I wonder if I'll like it. I'm still not sure. We'll see. I mean, I watched Lord of the Rings, so it can't be worse, right? Can't be worse than the ghost people. Maybe the Weeping Angels are just the ghost people of Doctor Who lore. I mean, is this hand even worth it? It doesn't really do anything. We have an Emeria, but like, well, Haywire Mike can do... You know what? I think we keep it. I think it's fine. I wish we had a One Ring or something, but it's fine. Stone Rain Productions! I'm making strawberry rhubarb meat. Oh, rhubarb is a flavor I don't really enjoy. And maybe it's good in mead, though. Welcome back to the Fishbowl, by the way. Thank you for your subscription. Big super for you. Thank you. Yeah, rhubarb. Does anyone like rhubarb? Rhubarb pie is like a thing people make around here, and my goodness... It is so gross. Is this Martyr proc? Not exactly. I think we just lead on this Haywire Mite. Hold our white cards in case we need to gain some life with Martyr of Sands here. Oh, really? Strawberry rhubarb. So good. Really? Oh, I can't stand the flavor of rhubarb. Will you watch John Wick before Doctor Who episodes? Probably not. Although John Wick showed up in one of my recommendeds on like Amazon or something recently. I almost clicked it, but I didn't. So I guess I got closer. I've gotten close enough to watching John Wick that it was recommended by Amazon. So I wonder, that actually kind of creeped me out. It makes me think that like Alexa's just listening to our conversations, which I'm sure it probably is actually. But why am I getting recommended John Wick? I don't even watch movies associated with John Wick. Why would John Wick pop up in my recommends unless I'm being spied on by Amazon? Hey Seth, I hope you know how much your personality traits made it. Oh, Rucker, I found out you have a YouTube channel. I didn't realize, maybe I knew this and I forgot it. So if I did, I apologize. I didn't realize you had a YouTube channel. And then I did that video about the no rare deck you sent me. And then someone mentioned a YouTube channel and I found it. That's like that's super sweet. I'm glad to see an artisan focused YouTube channel. Yeah, this is Martyr Proc-ish. Martyr Proc adjacent, at least. Dreadhorde Arcanist, that's not the best. I mean, so the idea of this deck is we win the late game. Do we get to the late game, though? Well, let's play Martyr of Sands to gain 6. That's kind of depressing. Well, play the Martyr of Sands. It also means we can't play an untapped land. Yeah, all right. Demolition Field, pass the turn. All right, Dreadhorde Arcanist. Yeah, I'm sure they do. Do you use facial recognition on your phone? That's other. I don't know why. I know it doesn't make sense because I'm sure my phone spies on me anyway. But I always am like, I don't know about facial recognition. They're probably gonna use that to like track me or something. Do I really want them to to be spying on me? Opponent preordains. What do you mean? Yes, your Amazon device literally listening all the time for keywords and they're algorithmically targeting via ads on their platforms. Not tinfoil hat stuff. Literally how these devices and services work. Oh, that feels so wrong to me. I'm sure you're right. I guess I've never actually researched it, but it feels wrong. It feels wrong that you would. Oh, can we stop drawing nothingness, please? Please. All right, pass the turn. Unfortunately, Martyr of Sands cannot make our opponent gain life. That would actually be really good here. I mean, eventually we might turn on this Emeria. We'll see if we get that far. Can anyone tell me what would happen if one with stars is attached to City of Death? Let me look up City of Death. I know what one with stars is. One with stars is a weird one. Bolts the face. Okay. And gets in. Lightning Bolt again. Going after the Martyr. Okay. Well, Martyr, reveal. Gain 6. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have kept this hand. We're just not really making any headway here. We just have no action, unfortunately. We might be able to cut down the Death Shadow at some point, but expressive iteration. So City of Death is the new saga. One with the stars. So one with the stars. Enchant creature or enchantment. Enchanted permanent is an enchantment and loses all other card types. Still has abilities, but is no longer a creature. So wait, enchantment saga. So would that mean it's no longer a saga? I mean, if it's no longer a saga, that would actually be a combo, right? I'm pretty sure. Not a super competitive combo, but you could make this not a combo. But you'd also have to make this a token, right? So you'd have to, if you wanted to combo these two, assuming this works the way I think it does, you would need to make a token copy of City of Death. And then you would have to put one with stars on the token copy, and then it could copy itself. Oh, it doesn't change the subtype? An enchanted permanent loses any subtypes associated with the card that's lost. It keeps any super types, such as legendary. So it should work. You do got to jump through some hoops to get the token copy of City of Death, but I think that actually would work. All right, opponent passes. We draw. Actually, Abiding Grace is pretty sweet here. All right, we have a new plan, which is we are going to reanimate Martyr of Sands every turn. Can you kill us? Can you kill us, opponent? Please don't have force of negation. All right, we're going to do this till our opponent stops us. And eventually we get to Emeria. So Abiding Grace, either gain 1 life or Gain 6 life at the moment with Martyr of Sands, getting that back every turn. By the way, you had the Smog video listed, yeah, unlisted as in the playlist. I realized that yesterday, but at that point it was too late. I gotta be aware of that in the future, I guess. If you put it in a playlist, then people find it. What do you think of this Legacy deck? I didn't do a sideboard, but looking to reanimate Primeval Spawn. Ooh. Opponent. Okay, sure. I mean, this is kind of feeding our Emeria for the future. So, okay, ways to get things in the graveyard. Primeval Spawn. If it would enter the battlefield, wasn't cast and no mana was spent on exile instead. When it leaves the battlefield, exile the top 10 cards of your library. You may cast any number of spells with total mana value 10 or less. But how does this... How does this lead to us winning the game, though? So if we reanimate... So if we get this in the graveyard and reanimate it, all we get is the last mode, right? Because it's going to exile itself. Actually, no. Does that even work? If it would enter the battlefield and wasn't cast, no mana was spent on it, does that actually even work? That's a replacement effect, right? Does it even enter the battlefield if you reanimate it? I'm not sure that it actually does. Ah, weird commander cards. Yeah, so I think it just does nothing. I think the actual concept, the way this is worded, I'm pretty sure it's a replacement effect, so it never even enters the battlefield. So if you reanimate it, I guess you would life death it or or whatever and lose a bunch of life, but you would never get any abilities from it. You need a clone that copies it in the graveyard. Okay, I could see that actually working. That seems possible. Opponent. Thoughts seizes. Well, now we're going to play in cycle. Well, so much for the Martyr of Sands plan. We don't have any white cards in hand now. Opponent is just going off with this Dreadhorde Arcanist, but they are down to 8. Yeah. We'll take it for now. We really need to draw some white cards. Are you ever going to play Legacy Kervik Spike combo? What is Legacy Kervik Spike combo? I do like Legacy decks. I always have fun when I play Legacy, so it seems like a Mom. Do we even play Mom though? Is the question. It might be better as a white card in hand. So we can like Demolition Field of Land. Sag Martyr of Sands. Yeah, I think we hold on to it. So let's blow up the Watery Grave. Do some Demolition Fielding. Wait, do you have a deck list for Kervik Spike combo? I'm very curious. I have a deck to send you for Thursday's stream, but Goldfish said it's not publicly searchable. Would it still be viewable? Yeah, if you send me the link, I can still see it. It just won't show up in any of the pages, the metagame pages or anything. That should fix itself once. That should fix itself once the set actually goes legal. Technically, the set's not legal yet. Oh, it's your birthday this Friday. Hey, Stone Rain, happy birthday. You spawn a lot of streamers. Sparking Spike used to be here a lot. Rooker streams Lucid. I used to, and Dog. Very cool. It's my birthday Friday. I didn't realize Spike used to hang out here. Well, that is pretty sweet. It's awesome. That's one of my favorite things, is just seeing the community do stuff like that. That's been one of my favorite parts of making content. The more Magic content, the better. Well, Stone Rain, you have to send me a birthday deck for if you're around for Thursday's stream. The woe early access. Well, let's get in with the Haywire Might. Do we? We might need to chump. Let's pass. If we win this, like our opponent is just full on going off with this Dreadhorde Arcanist. They played it on turn 2. They have triggered it every turn. We have drawn 0 removal. and we're still at 18. Our opponent's just like going through their entire deck. We are very, very slowly working towards this Emeria. I don't know if we get there in time, but maybe about it. So how are we feeling about Wilds of Eldraine? I keep going back and forth. This set looks so sweet. Uh-oh, Moto is having an issue at the moment. Early access is Thursday. Thursday stream, we'll get to check out the Wilds of Eldraine stuff. Heard you were considering the Baseball Secret Lair. Any other ones you might get? I mean, for me, the Sliver one is a snap buy just because of the value. The baseball one, I wish the cards were better. The design is cool. I really like the design, but the cards I think are just like, the Lorwyn Planeswalkers just aren't that great anymore. So I might still get it, just because I like the. All right, period. Just because I like how it looks. The Sliver one though, that's the easy, super easy snap buy for me, just because the value is so high. Opponent with a big attack gets in. Preordains again. Well, we have 4 planes, 5 in hand. We need 2 more. We are gaining life each turn. What are your thoughts on the new Ashiok as well as the new 1 Planeswalker per set rule? So new Ashiok I think is a really cool design. I don't know where it fits. So I've been working the last couple days. Well, that's actually kind of a good draw. I've been working the last couple days on, what do we snipe though is the question. Just the, what is a bigger problem? Is it just the Arcanist probably? Yeah, let's get the Arcanist. So Skyclave. Get rid of the Arcanist. In theory, we can chump block the Death Shadow for a bit. Play the Plains. Pass the turn. I guess we go attacking? Yeah, let's get in there. Let's go aggro. Hey, where am I to aggro? I just don't know what to do with the Ashiok. Like, is there any real synergies for it? There's like, so you can like get back Tenacious Underdog, exiling cards, but I haven't really figured out anything to take advantage of the static ability, which is like the most unique aspect of it, at least in standard. In other formats, there's more synergies, but it's 5 mana, which is asking a lot. So Ashiok, I like the card, but I'm not sure what to do with it yet. I'm still working on that part. The 1 Planeswalker per set rule, I actually kind of like. I feel like, so, okay, good and bad news. On one hand, I feel like we went too heavily on Planeswalkers for a bit. I feel like I always go non-foil 100% of the time. Foil's too curly, too likely to cause an issue if I ever played them competitively, so I'm fully a non-foil person. Plus they're cheaper, which is a nice bonus. So on one hand, I feel like we went too heavily on Planeswalkers. I think cutting back on the number of Planeswalkers, probably a positive. So that I like. On the other hand, the cynic in me thinks that Wizards was like, you know what, we're wasting 2 or 3 mythic slots on a card type that Commander players don't even like. They don't even play. So I think we got to get rid of these Planeswalkers because we need to make even more legendary creatures. If that's the reasoning, then I would say slightly less enthused by it. Like, I still think it's fine and it's probably good for gameplay, but but I also don't know if I want even more cards specifically for Commander. Like, I feel like that's part of why Standard's suffering. Like, this actually, okay, so this actually just, let's get back our Martyr of, I guess we just keep always doing this. So we're getting some white cards in hand, which is good. I mean, if we ever get our planes, I think we just win, right? Like, once we start activating 2 Emerias a turn, this is going to end pretty quickly for our opponent. I must ask, Seth just noticed the post right after my outline. How? Wait, what post? I'm so confused. Oh, I didn't even notice it. Hey, Seth and Ben, I've seen Guff Triplets. I had 2 thoughts right after reading it. Would 6 mana value, 9 peeps do the cut in Mono Green Devotion? Also, you can mill opponent with it in Altar of Dementia. Ooh, so I think that Gruff Triplets is an underrated card. I think that card's actually, when you read it at first, you're kind of like, a bunch of 3/3s, whatever. But when you think about how it scales, I think it's actually good. Mono Green Devotion is tough just because the list is really tight and it's so combo-y. You just win with Karn combos that I don't know if like adding a bunch of power to the battlefield is all that essential to what it's trying to do, but it could show up as a one of. I don't think it's impossible that it shows up as like a one of. I do think it's actually a good card though. I think it's one of the currently underrated cards. Unfortunately, we showed our opponent this reprieve, so now they know we have it. Opponent goes to combat, gets and hits us. Oh, I can update the deck list. I forgot. Hang on. Opponent goes attacking. I guess we just kill this Bowmasters and take some damage here. So Bowmaster's down. Haywire down. Come on, planes! Come on, planes. We will take any planes. Doesn't even matter which one. Field of Ruin. Okay, Field of Ruin does turn into a planes, which is good. I don't know how many basics our opponent's playing. They could be one of those greedy decks that's only playing one. Let's find out. One basic, Strip Mine activated, better Strip Mine. Oh, are they not finding? Oh, okay, opponent's not that greedy. That's all right, we're 1 planes away. We're 1 planes away from victory. We will get back a Martyr of Sands again. That's gonna keep happening, opponent. We will not stop. All right, updating the deck list. So what do you want to see most during early access? What are you hyped for? Also, boy, I have Wilds of Eldraine questions for y'all for days. So one is, what do you want to see most? I'm also curious what the best against the odds card from the set is. That's one that's been it's so funny. Our opponent's like putting so much power on the battlefield. They're going off with their Dreadhorde Archdus, but the little Martyr of Sands just unbeatable. I mean, I'm sure I'll be seeing a lot of Ventures for sure. What do you think the best against the odds card is? This one's really been an opponent scoops it up. Cannot beat it. Emeria, too good. So what is the best against the odds card? This one has really been stumping me. There's a ton of stuff I want to brew around. So here's options. Turtle Pot combo could be a good against the odds thing. I could see that. Panharmonicon, obviously, Virtue of Knowledge. You can never go wrong with that. I actually am kind of coming around about Virtue of Strength not being a good card, but like having potential. I realized 7 mana tripled is 21 mana, right? So if you have an X spell that's X in 1, you can do it for 20. So like, imagine ramp, Virtue of Strength, untap, Shivan Devastator is a 20/20 haster, or Light Up the Night for 20 damage to the face. So I actually think there's a funny deck we can build around this. I don't know if it'll be good, and it does require playing all basics. I think that Will and Rowan could be against the oddsable. I think those might be on the list. Food Fight, I don't know if that's the first against the odds card, but I think it's probably an against the odds card. Gruff Triplets could be against the odds for older formats. I think it gets much funnier once you add doubling season effects to the mix or other token copiers. Then it actually becomes pretty funny because one of these can just like really make a ridiculous amount of power. But I don't know, rats are very against the odds, I think, as far as power level. Battle mice. What would you do with Raging Battle Mouse, though? Like, that's the thing with Raging Battle Mouse. It's certainly against the odds because it's bad, but like, how do you do something cool with it? I want to see if fairies are good. Well, I'm sure Krim will make like 40 fairy decks, so we'll be finding out soon. I am pretty skeptical of fairies. The reason I'm skeptical of fairies, Bunny Cornflake does sound pretty funny. Surge Ginger, I am hyped for Surge Ginger, but I think that one I'm most excited about in Modern, actually. Although we could build a funny standard deck around it. We still have a lot of treasure production. I think fairies really... How about a sticker combo with Yenna? Sleep Curse Fae Infinite Mana combo. Questing Druid, I think, is just a good card. I don't think Questing Druid's against the odds. Like, I think Questing Druid's actually just a legit card, I think. Okay, how are we doing this? So Sanctifier and Vex seems good. Mom seems not as good. Hour of Revelation. Hour of Revelation. Celestial Purge seems good. And what do we cut, though? The Reprieves might actually be bad. Maybe we don't want Reprieves against this deck. How about something... Oh no. Oh, did we do it? Oh my god, I hope we did it. We spent too long talking about Wilds of Eldraine. My other Wilds of Eldraine question... we did sideboard. That's a Sanctifier. My other Wilds of Eldraine question... I need your opinion on this. This came up during the podcast a little bit. Does this feel at all like an unset to you? Actually, does Magic in general feel more like an unset to you? It's kind of struck me the other day. Like, I know this is a fairy tale world, so that's part of it. That's part of it. Is as a fairy tale world, so that kind of leads towards some of the designs. But really, remember, it wasn't that long ago that like we couldn't do squirrels in Black Border because they weren't serious enough. That was like against the rules. But now we have like Raging Battle Mice, Regal Bunnycorns. Like a lot of these things seem very unset. Food Fight. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I feel like every set's kind of a... Like, Wizards has just stopped taking themselves so seriously, which is probably a good thing overall, I think. But I feel like what's the need at this point of unsets? Because you can just do it in Black Border. I feel like stuff that they would not have printed 5 years ago in Black Border, 10 years ago in Black Border, is just no problem now. I think I like the lighter feel of it, maybe. Or I like Wizards having the option to not take things so seriously. I could see it going too far down that road. Like, remember when they first started doing Universes Beyond and we talked about, like, equipping a can of Mountain Dew or something? We actually are, like, kind of creeping towards that slowly. So you could go too far probably down that pathway. I don't think we're there yet, but... Aww. Opponent. How about a Field of Ruin? Can we name Field of Ruin? Wow. Well, they did name Field of Ruin. I was kidding. I thought they would definitely name Emeria, but okay. Wait. Alpine Moon for Field... What? What is going on? Who brings in Alpine Moon to name Field of Ruin? I've never seen that before. I didn't know that was a thing people would actually do. If we have more Universes Beyond set, I'd like them to be mini sets like Aftermath. Ooh, that could be cool. Yeah, opponent. Really going 4D with the chess. I updated my Paper Braids EDH deck. So fun, especially with Wilds of Eldraine editions. Ooh. Braids is a cool commander. Oh, yesterday. So the next week's Commander Clash, we decided to have a week where the goal was everyone has to build. Yeah, it looks really sweet. I do like Braids. I wish they'd unban original Braids. Honestly, I wish they would bring back Panda's Commander. I think if you brought back Panda's Commander, you could easily unban original Braids. Little does our opponent know, our deck loves Field of Ruin so much, we're also playing Demolition Field. Well, let's play a Sanctifier in Vec. Good luck with that opponent. Pro you, minus your preordains. Oh, this is looking good. So we decided we got some interesting Commander Clash things coming up. Is Commander House going to be using a custom EDH thing on Moto? Actually, next week's Commander, the one that's going up this week for Commander Clash, actually takes advantage of the custom rules. Well, let's play the Field of Ruin and Ranger Captain of Eos. And I think we're going to win this one. Opponent says pretty much GG. Yeah, I think it is pretty much GG at this point. Just in case it's not, let's take Martyr of Sands to gain a little bit of life. And I guess we start attacking. Get in, hit ya a grow down to 15 past the turn. So this week we have one that takes advantage of Moto's new rules. What are the new Moto changes for EDH? So they added Freeform Commander, which means you can actually like break the rules of Commander, which is kind of neat. So you could play non-legends as your commander. You can play Oathbreaker. You can play ban cards if you want to. Basically, you set your own rule set for the game. So we have an episode that's coming up that's taking advantage of that. We also, though, have yeah, you can do some cool things with it. I think people are going to like the first episode that we've kind of explored with that. It's like the ultimate rules. You can do a lot of stuff you can do in paper, basically, that you could never do before on Magic Online because you always had to play by exactly the real rules. We also decided to do, well, this is going to make our opponent scoop. We also decided to do Salt Week, where the task was everyone has to build the saltiest deck possible. So we ended up building some very salty decks. And the expectation going into it was you could build Blood Moon as your commander. That is a thing you could do now. Like, we could do, what if everyone started with Black Lotus as their commander? That would be a thing that we could actually do that we just couldn't do before. But we decided to do Salt Week. Everyone build the saltiest deck possible. And I was expecting it to be like not a real game of Magic and just like incredibly miserable and unfun. It actually turned out to be an incredibly one of the most interesting games we've played this entire season. I was absolutely shocked at just like how interesting the game was. I thought it was going to be just like absolutely horrible, ha ha ha, like no one gets to do anything. But it was actually a really, really good game of Commander. So now I'm wondering if like maybe we're too harsh on salty cards in Commander. Maybe Mass Land Destruction was the good guy all along. Is there a limit on the number of commanders? That's a good question. I have not explored. So actually, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that you can partner with non-partners if you want to. So I assume that means you could play even more. You could play even more commanders if you really wanted to. Triple partners, quadruple partners. Yeah, I was actually very surprised at how fun the game was. When I thought it was just going to be very unfun. About it. Water game untapped. I mean, I don't know how our opponent wins from here. I'm pretty confident that our opponent's just not going to be able to win from here. It's going to take a miracle opponent. Death Shadow, sure. Does not really get through the Sanctifier. Opponent passes. We take a damage. Oh, there's an Eagles. Well, One Ring. Draw a few cards. One Ring Martyrous Sands seems kind of ridiculous. One Ring Abiding Grace Martyrous Sands. We will gain so much. Oh my god, it's Abiding Grace. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, opponent. Oh, opponent. Let's play this Martyrous Sands real quick. Let's... I hadn't really thought through. So Martyr of Sands just wants us to hold a bunch of white cards. We should be gaining like 21 a turn. That's ridiculous. We can keep the One Ring going literally forever, and that was a super easy win. Opponent's just trying to play some good, clean, fair, preordained Magic, and they ran into the degenerate, Martyr proc deck. Can this deck lose to Bird? It would take a miracle for us to lose to Bird. We should not be able to lose to Bird. But you never know. You never know. Like, they do have ways to hate on life gain, so if they draw enough, like, skull cracks. Yeah, I didn't think you were stream sniping, Gigano. I'm curious, what was your thought process with... Can we keep this? I guess we can keep this. What was your thought process with the Alpine Moon? Were you worried about me just like strip mining you because you don't play that many basics? When you first played it, I was thinking you were playing it to name Emeria for the late game. You named Field of Ruin, which like kind of sort of made sense, but I was also kind of confused because normally I haven't seen people bring it in to name Field of Ruin. Oh, you drew your... Okay, that makes perfect sense then. You just drew all your basics, so yeah. Yeah, then you just gotta do what you gotta do. About it. Delated Halfling. Off of Forest. I feel like this list could use Children of Corliss. That's the Grizzlebrand combo thing, right? The gain life equal to the life you've lost this turn. Could be interesting. I mean, we have a Fog, We have Martyr. Oh boy, opponent's doing some serious ramping here. Ren. Okay. Wow, I'm actually feeling like we're pretty far behind now. Yeah, this is not great. Not great. And somehow our opponents played all basic lands. So we can't even get them with a Field of Ruin effect. Well, get in hit ya. Pass the turn. Yeah, this might be bad. Opponent going first and just having this absurd rampant is probably going to be bad for us. Stomping Grounds. Tapped. Gets it back with red. And Clothis. Oh, that shuts down our graveyard. Well, crack a clue. Draw a Cammy. Well, alright, there's a Plains. This is not a bad draw. At least Ranger Captain of Eos is a clock, sort of. And we'll take... What do we take here? I don't even know what to take. Psychologist! Welcome to the Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big soup for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank ya. Here's a quick deck build update. Can you please give me your opinion? Let me pull it up, Di. I bet I built your old Smothering Tithe deck in Pioneer. Really wanted to work and have made my first attempt. It would have any impact on the mainer sideboard. Let me pull it up, Mother Frogger. All right, what are we doing? What are we taking here? Oh wait, Haywire Might can actually exile Clothis. All right, let's take Haywire Might. And while Clothis is out, we can't really go off with Martyr anyway, because it'll just exile it. We do need to keep this from ultimating at least. I guess we also need green mana. So we need the Eagle to land cycle to get green mana to Haywire Might to get rid of the Clothis and then go from there. I mean, so we have 2 Temple Gardens and then we got a million Eagles that can find them. Is Sarah Ascendant not good enough anymore? Not in this deck. I think that Sarah Ascendant... Wow, they just turned on the Clothis. I think that Sarah Ascendant might be good enough in... Now what? We could Solitude. Let's be patient. Let's be patient. The big thing is this means we can't attack the Ren. That's the most awkward part. Reprieve. Well, okay. Demolition Field. Play Cammy of False Hope. Pass the turn. All right, we gotta stop this Ren. How do we stop the Ren from ultimating? That's the real question. That's the real question. All right, no combat damage for you, opponent. That also gets the Ren to take down, which is kind of big. Opponent cracks the Wooded Foot. Because we can Elishorn into double Solitude, too, which is pretty nice. Opponent combat. No attacks. Well, let's start getting some planes. Grab a planes. Untap. Ooh, Skyclave. Skyclave is also pretty good. I mean, we got to do it. It's mom time. It's mom time. We gotta try. They're Gruul. How does Gruul kill a mom? I feel like Gruul should not be able to kill mom. And if we untap with mom, if we wanted to, I guess we could sack the Ranger Captain just to make sure. They can't kill mom, right? They can't kill mom. They can't kill mom. They can't kill mom. No way. Not happening. Not happening. Yeah, get the Cammy. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Oh, we need our Eagle. We need the Eagle to get to Plane Cycle to get the Temple Garden. Opponent combat. Oh my goodness, passes. Okay, I was not expecting that. Oh, life is becoming wonderful. Skyclave Apparition. Double Trouble. snag that Ren, snag that Clothis out of here. All of life's problems are over. I don't even know if we attack with the Elishnorn. Let's just pass. Let's play it safe. We're in such a good spot now about it. There's an artist I'd love you to check out. Andrew Bird is so cool. If I had one song to pick, it would be 8. I have not listened to Andrew Bird for a long time, but I know Andrew Bird. He does folk music, right? Or like acoustic style music. Yeah, I haven't listened to Andrew Bird in a while, but I remember listening to him a long time ago and I liked him. The shirt's, the Ween shirt, the classic. Do we even care about Fable? I don't even know if we care about Fable. Sure, whatever. Fable away, opponent. Fable away. We might just overload a Winds of Abandon. Wait, is this deck good? Are we just crushing it? Let's get another Plains. Let's get another Plains. Demolition Field. Untap. Ranger Captain. Pass the turn. Opponent got off to the fast start, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The power of Emeria is just too much. Opponent's gonna do some looting. Yeah, I'll have to check him out again, Stone Rain. I'm not familiar with 8. Opponent discards some lands, goes to combat, passes. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Solitude. Get rid of Endurance. And opponent scoops it up. Man, maybe Emeria's back. Hey Seth, was running errands when you started. How was your weekend? It was pretty good. Didn't do anything too crazy. Oh my goodness. Oh, there's just upstate New York stuff. Well, okay. I actually animal stuff too. I was gonna say I was at my mom's house. My mom, there's this like emerald ash borer or something. I don't know the tree stuff, but there's some issue that ash trees in upstate New York are like all dying because of some invasive thing that's like destroying all the trees. So my mom's house has a bunch of these trees that she has to get taken down because they're gonna fall on things because they're sick. So she was trying to figure out how to get the trees to emerald ash borer. I think that's what it actually is, or borer. I think that's what it is. So they're all obviously dying because of this emerald ash borer. So they got to get cut down because they're gonna fall down and crush stuff. So it's trying to figure out like, okay, how does she get these trees taken down? And ended up asking just this neighbor, this guy, and he's the nicest guy. He's just like this kind of like just, I don't know. He's just a nice older guy, and it was like, oh, I'll do it for you, not a big deal. So he came over with his chainsaw and is trying to take these trees down, and the first one he chops down, puts it right down on a telephone wire, and like, oh, it was just such a just this old guy. It's just such a funny image. It's just old guy with a chainsaw, just like, oh yeah, no problem, and just like right over crushing stuff. So that didn't go very well. He only made it through 2 trees before, like, dude, I don't think this is gonna work. Like, I appreciate the offer. I'm glad you were trying to help, but I think we're gonna have to go another direction and not have you do this. So that was an adventure. The old guy chopping down trees chaotically. And then Bear and Cece's like thinks she's the boss of Bear. That's kind of a new thing. She's always thought she's the boss of Bear, but it's so funny because she's so little and Bear's so big. Bear's just like the biggest, dumbest dog. And Cece's just like thinks she rules the world. So I try to feed them in different rooms. So I was feeding Bear. I gave him his like can of like this rice and chicken food. So I fed Bear, and Cece ran in and started eating Bear's food. And Bear, he's just he just watched her. He just stood there and he'd like look at Cece, then he'd look at me like, what is this cat doing? This isn't how this is. We probably should have sideboarded, but she was like, what is this cat doing? Like, this isn't right. So after a few minutes, I kind of like shushed her away, like, okay, get out of here. That's Bear's food. So I got her away. Bear ate his food. And then I went in the other room to feed Cece. And I feed her up on the table so Bear can't eat her food. And I came back into the office, and Bear, as soon as I fed her, he just ran out there and he just climbed his big body up on the table and just gulped all of her food in like one bite and then just walked in the other room. I think it was sending a message like, you better stay away from my food, cat. That's the line. You crossed the line here by going after my food. So we just ate all of her food to let her know that wasn't allowed. Oh, the animal drama. We have a new donation from Dan Wildfire, $2 donation. RDB built 2 Wilds of Eldraine decks. Here's an ultra budget Corval deck. How do you like the new Corval? How good do you think the new Corval is? How does it compare to the old Corval? Thank you so much for the donation, by the way, Doug. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you. Do we need to leave up Reprieve? Probably. Well, let's hit the Ren. I think we just hit the Ren, play the Field of Ruin, pass the turd. If we need to Reprieve, we can. If we don't need to Reprieve, we can crack the Clue or Land Cycle. Oh, boon it. Corval. Only $55, too. That is, like, super budget friendly. Corval's interesting. I feel like it's meaningfully less powerful than the original. But I think that's good. Old Corvald, I mentioned the Salt Commander game, so I was looking through the EDH Rec Salt scale. Corvald, I didn't realize, is actually like one of the saltiest commanders. People really do not like that card. Well, let's Reprieve the Fable. Let's slow things down. Opponent gets back the land. Sure. We draw a Ranger Captain. Well, get in, hit the Ren. Play the land, run out Ranger Captain. Now we're definitely grabbing Martyr. It's time to gain some life. Pass the turd. Yeah, deck looks really sweet, Doug. I'm excited about a slightly powered down Corvald. I think this Corvald is still very strong. Oh, I'm sorry, Dai. Yeah, remind me. I have your deck list pulled up. I just I didn't get to it. I got distracted. My apologies. But remind me, and I will look at it. Enjoy your dinner. Let me know when you're back. Yeah, it looks sweet, Doug. I think this Corvald's a better power level. I think it's still very powerful, but it's not going to be miserable like the first one occasionally was for people. You actually gotta put a little bit of work into it, which I think is good. The old one was just like so easy to kind of win the game the turn it comes down. Oh, that's right, you do sacrifice sagas. That's a cool synergy. One Ring is pretty strong. So all right, let's Eagles of the North, Plane Cycle. Snag a Temple Garden. Martyr. Actually, do we Martyr? We could kill the Fable. Maybe that's better. All right, let's first attack the Ren. Get in at the Ren. Let's see what our opponent does, and then we'll decide. They could double block. It might be worth it. When are you going to play Wheaties? Wait, what are Wheaties? Is there a new cereal deck that I haven't heard of yet? Has there ever been a Wheaties deck? I feel like that's one of the cereals that was left out. Oh, man, I forgot all about Wheaties. Wheaties, didn't they try to, like... I'm trying to... wasn't that the cereal that used, like, a lot of people in the Olympics on their boxes? They were going for the, like, super healthy... If you eat our very gross cereal, then you, too, could be an Olympian. Well, we'll kill the goblin. Well, in that case, I think we actually do just Haywire Might. Yeah, let's play Haywire Might. Temple Garden untapped. Sack the Haywire Might. Get rid of the Fables. Our opponent doesn't get to draw cards. Gain a little life. Pass the turn. Wheaties are good. I mean, I guess Wheaties, yeah, no milk. That's a thing for all cereal. I guess as far as like healthy cereals go, Wheaties is probably one of the better ones. What's your overall impression of battles now that they have been out for a few months? Do you wish they saw more play? I feel like I don't see them very much. I think Wizards might have went a little safe with them. I think they might have went a little safe. Seeing more play would probably be, ooh, Karn. Karn A. That's a scary magic card. What are we getting with the Karn? The extra toughness on Delighted Halfling is such a big deal, so impactful. I do think battles should, yeah, that's my big takeaway too, is like, I feel like they kind of wasted, the whole new card type thing, and it probably wasn't actually necessary to make them their own card type. Like, did they actually have to be a card type, or could you have done it with like enchantments or something? I feel like you could have. I feel like the question is really going to be the future. I'm afraid they're going to end up like Tribal, where it was like, we made this whole new card type and we used it in one set and it's very forgettable and no one cares. I'm afraid that's what's going to happen with battles. And if that's what happens, I don't think it was worth it. Like, I don't think it was worth it. Like, even seeing them, like, just not show up again already is a little weird. So I feel like it's much more like Tribal than Creature or Planeswalker or Enchantment or something like that we see all the time. And then I think it's, like, just not worth it. Like, the cost of, like, adding a new card type, all the rules baggage, if you're just going to do it as a one-off in one set, is it really worth making a new card type? I don't know, maybe I'm just disappointed, because when they said, it does help with Tarmogoyf, that's true. When they said new card type, I guess I immediately went to, oh, this is going to be Planeswalkers or something, when so far, we just haven't seen them again. Aren't we judging them too early? I mean, yeah, so I'm not judging the power level, I'm more judging, like, they haven't brought them back yet, right? Like, that's I guess I just want to see more of them. If they're not going to use them frequently, then I think there was kind of no point. So I think the idea of battles is cool, and I like the flavor ramifications. I just worry that maybe it wasn't, yeah, I guess we need to get the planes. I just worry that maybe it's not worth it if they're not actually going to use them with some amount of frequency, which so far we just haven't seen. Well, Skyclave, get rid of the Karn. That can't stick around. Thraben Inspector, hit the red. And pass the turn. We're up to 5 planes in Emeria. We're getting there. Once Emeria's on, things become very good. Opponent gets back the land with the red. And what do you think about Wild Standard? Are we gonna... Oh, so many cards. What do you think about Wild Standard? Are we actually gonna get a shakeup, or is it still gonna be the same? I kind of wish they actually... would have... So now we gotta kill card number 2. Well, okay, 1, 2. Winds of Abandon. Get rid of the halfling. Go to combat. Get rid of the Karn. Planes. 1 ring. Pass the turn. Hopefully they don't have even more Karns. 3rd Karn would probably get us. Shelly's going to best everything. Ah, boy. Do you think the 3-year rotation thing's going to pay off in the future? I wonder if it's one of those things where we got to accept a little pain now for a long-term payoff that, seriously, you really just drew every single card. All right, so opponent has drawn every single card. 3 of them. Well, we might be in trouble now that our opponent has drawn 3 Karns. That is kind of absurd. Well, we found a way we could lose, I guess, which is our opponent just draw every card in their deck. Opponent. Going to take up the Karn. Yeah, I mean, I think we lose now, right? Like, we're just locked by Karn, so unless we top deck something, we lose. Opponent plays a land. Yeah, it's a little unlucky. Opponent passes. We draw. Another Skyclave would be good. Hey! Okay, that is another Skyclave. That will be good. Oh! The Mycarno. That was a good top deck. Welcome to the... Wow, that was key. Welcome to the Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big super cheer for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh! Okay, we draw some cards. We play Demolition Field. We play Abiding Grace. If they have the fourth card... if they have the fourth card, then we quit. Everything at the red. Somehow we have survived 3 cards. Somehow. Oh, okay. Endurance. And that gets rid of our graveyard. Yup. All right. Yeah. And opponent gets a 4/4. I guess we could have considered playing around that. Well, we will gain a life. They're not going to play another Karn, right? That can't be a thing. How are you, Mike? For the 81st month, you're one of the longest term subscribers. I think you're in the very top. All right, twin shot sniper. Yes, that is a 4-drop, but it is not a Karn. Opponent gets another 4/4. Plays a land. Renin Realmbreaker. Opponent's a interesting deck. Turns a land into a 3/3. Well, here they come. Here they come. Are we dead? Opponent gets in for it. We do get to draw a bunch of cards. But we are dropping to 10 here, which is scary. Wow, pings our face. Opponent's just going for it. They are going for it. We do have these martyrs in hand. So 1 ring takes some damage. We draw a giant killer. We draw with a 1 ring. Oh! Oh, the whiff. Oh, the whiff. That's not good. That's not good at all. Wow, second clue. Martyr. I'll play the martyr. It gets countered. Play Demolition Field. Pass the turn. Get back the martyr. Gotta play into the chalice. One of the rare cases where that's relevant. Oh, I don't know if he survived this or not. So we can gain 9. 9 is a pretty big number. All right, opponent's gonna go after the martyr. So we gotta sack it. We gain 9. Back up to 16 for now. Opponent mills. Gets a fury. Oh, this is so close. This is so close. Opponent fury to kill the Thrabes. Is the martyr going to be enough? Opponent goes to combat. Opponent attacks. Well, we can chop down a 4/4. Take our beats for 10. How many bolts are they holding? Opponent. Blood Moon. That is annoying. 1 ring versus the world. Elishnorn. Well, we dropped to 4. 1 ring. Draws us some cards. How do we survive? How do we survive? Can we survive? Oh, our Emeria got shut off by the Blood Moon too. Oh my goodness. Oh. Yeah, we are 1-0. I forgot to update it. I will update the record. Let's see. What is our best plan here? So Martyr gains us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Martyr gains us 15 if we play nothing. We can Ranger Captain for free because we get another white card. So definitely play Ranger Captain. Ranger Captain gets a... Ooh, Cammy? Is Cammy better? No, we die to the One Ring. So we can get Cammy for the future. So take Cammy. Play Emeria. Pass the turn. Get back Martyr. Is this going to be enough, though? Discard. Discard. 3, 6, 9, 12. So we can gain 15. Opponent takes down Ren. Gets a Ren. Opponent's like Ren Tribal over there. No, so it's mana value to be 1 when we cast it. So we could play the chop down side, but we can't play the 1 mana side. The 1 mana side would get countered by it. Yeah, we can't use the might until we get rid of the Blood Moon at some point. Opponent gets back a fetch. Eventually we'll draw another One Ring. Eventually we'll draw another Skyclave. Fable the Mirror Breaker. Okay. That doesn't really change anything. What a wild game. What a wild game. I don't think we can afford to... I mean, we can answer the Blood Moon at some point. I don't think we can afford to play a forest because of Emeria. We really need all of our lands to be plains, I think. Bandit. Attacks. Attacks. We will block with Martyr. I guess we keep the Ranger Captain. We can take 3, right? So we're going to go up to 19. Yeah, we can take 3. So we'll block with the Martyr. Sack the Martyr. Reveal everything. Go up to 19. Go down to 16. Opponent passes. So we take 4 from the One Ring. Draw an Abiding Grace. Draw with the One Ring. Okay, there's another... Wow, we drew nothing, though. There's another One Ring. That's good. So 1, 2, 3, 4. One Ring. Legend Rule. Pro Everything. Abiding Grace number 2. Temple Garden. Pass the turn. Oh, I think we're good now. Get back the Martyr. Get back the Thrabes. I think we're going to win this. I can't believe we're winning this, but I think we're actually going to end up winning this game. Discard, discard, discard. We can gain a ton more life. What a game. Oh, the One Ring is a ridiculous card that should not exist. Should not exist. About it. It is sweet to see Emeria working, though. I do like this deck. The Abiding Grace Martyr loop is pretty powerful, actually. Like, that's what's keeping us in the game. I mean, the One Ring helped. The card draw from the One Ring definitely helped, but the life gain from this Martyr has probably been the biggest part of this game, honestly. Like, gaining 15 plus a turn is kind of a huge amount of life. About it. Combat. And... passing? Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, in that case, we will gain just a little life. And then we'll draw with the One Ring. I guess we should have run first, but oops. Untap. Take an damage. Draw with the One Ring. Actually, do we draw? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just play Mom. Play the land. Pass the turn. And I think this is over now. Get back the Martyr. And gain a life. Oh yeah, that's right. We played the One Ring that turn. You're right. That makes even more sense. Got any plans for 100K followers? It's a good question. What should we do, Dandy Floss? Do you have any ideas? I hadn't really thought about it. All right, opponent. Utopia Sprawls. Into their chalice. Chalice check. Just a little chalice check. Turns on the land. Gets back the land. Plays the land. Goes to combat. Passes. Well, let's draw with the One Ring. Let's run out a actually, how do we win this game? We do need to win. That's the thing. Gaining all the life in the world doesn't actually mean we win. Yeah, I guess overloading wins is going to be good. All right, let's gain a few lives. Okay, we learned. Wait. Correct way to do this, crack the clue first, right? Because we might draw a white card and gain even more life. Hey, okay, there is a reason to do things correctly. 1, 2, 3, oh my God, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Our 1-drop is going to gain us 27 here. Okay, up to 54. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. IRL Commander with friends for 100K. Ooh, that could be spicy. I always see people do like AMAs and stuff like that, but I feel like, I don't know, would an AMA actually be cool? Because I feel like we interact so much on the stream anyway, that I feel like an AMA is kind of just like something we do anyway. More product opening. A product opening could be cool. Yeah, eventually we can just exile our opponent's board, right? Like, we just have to not mill out at this point. I don't know how we actually lose unless we mill out. Well, let's start with a Solitude. Overtap a bit. Start with a Solitude. Get rid of Fury. And Reflections of Kiki Jiki. Does our opponent ever give up? I guess the clock is also a part of this. And then we will play a Martyr. Gets countered. And we will pass the turn. Get back a Martyr. Get back the other Martyr. We're going to gain a little bit of life here. Second Martyr. Gain a few points of life. Just in case. Just in case. Our opponent could draw a bolt or something. we gotta be careful. We're gonna be at like 100 life here momentarily. Yes. How about gain some life? Martyr is kind of ridiculous. End of turn, discard some 1-drops that we can reanimate. And then, you know what? I think we start sacking Rangers here. Sack the Ranger. Can't cast non-creatures. We need a Aetherflux Reservoir. Could we play Aetherflux? What if we played a Karn to get Aetherflux? Opponent ticking down. Gonna get a Blood Moon, probably. Yeah, get some land. I mean, we have more Skyclaves, right? Once we get a Skyclave, to get rid of the Blood Moon, to turn on... Whew, I don't know about this Chalice on 1 plan. I think our opponents countered more of their stuff than our stuff with the Chalice. Opponent takes up the red. I mean, I guess we got to be aware of the Ren ultimating. That could actually... I don't even know if that matters at this point, honestly, but it could sort of matter somehow. All right, so we untap. I think we're to the exile your board stage. Overloading wins would be the easiest. Just get rid of everything. Oh, okay. Well, speak of the sorcery. Winds of Abandon. Out of here. No lands to find. Go to combat. Kill Ren, kill Ren. Kill Ren. Planeswalkers down. And yeah, we'll just pass. We're just gonna do a little passing. Let's get back a Thraben Inspector. Get back a Cammy. I think we're good with Martyr for now. We have 91 life. Do a little investigation. And this one looks pretty over to me. About it, Dubs. Oh, let me see the Wheaties deck. I'm curious. After this game, okay, we got there. Emeria actually seems pretty good. All right, let's look at these deck lists. Let's look at the deck list people have been sending in. I think this deck might actually be decent. Elish Norn going off in Modern. The Martyr of Sands thing is just really hard for decks to stop. Like, if you can't exile the graveyard, Martyr with Abiding Grace seems kind of unbeatable. All right, let's see. Die on the phone. Rot Priest is back. Ooh. So Elusive Otter does seem like a nice addition. I really like the flexibility of these Spellslinger adventures, where you're getting a creature that cares about spells being cast and a spell to trigger your creatures that care about spells being cast. I think that's really one of the big upsides of Otter, and also the Questing Druid are kind of similar in that way. So it seems like a really nice addition to something like Ivy. Royal Treatment, I guess, is a bit of an upgrade as well. Probably. Is it? Is Royal Treatment better than Tyver's Stand? I'm actually not even sure that it is. It might be. In a deck like this, you don't really get any value out of enchantments. I mean, the deck looks sweet. I think, so the question with this deck is always, like, can you stick your pieces? It's really powerful. If you're not interacted with, it is almost unbeatable with its best draws. However, it does kind of struggle with removal-heavy decks. So that's really the question. Like, it's one of the fastest, probably the fastest combo deck in Standard. So I like the build. I think Otter's a nice addition. I don't know how you solve the problem, though, of just, like, if your opponent has too much removal, it's just super hard to win. I don't know if Otter solves that. I guess it kind of gives a backup plan of, like, being more combat-y instead of Rot Priest shenanigans. But that looks good. I like it. Die in the phone. I do. Wheaties. I don't even know what Wheaties is. So what is Wheaties combo? Enduring Renewal, Goblin Bombard. Oh. Enduring Renewals definitely led to many combos over the years. So Enduring Renewal, if you draw a creature, it gets milled instead. But if a creature in the graveyard dies, you return it to your hand. I mean, that does seem fun. The idea of, like, so the most straightforward combo would be Ornithopter, Impact Tremors, or Goblin Bombardment, I guess, and in Enduring Renewal. So you just keep sacking the Ornithopter. Although, like, Looping Siege Rhino, it's expensive, but it would be fun. I love decks like this. This is a very nostalgic deck. It's got all those cool old cards with Siege Rhino, with Restoration Angels, with Eternal Witnesses. I don't know how it would hold up against 2023 Modern, unfortunately, but I like the idea. We'll have to do some Enduring Renewaling at some point. And then, let's see, last but not least on our deck list, Emergency Tithe for Pioneer. Ooh, Smothering Tithe going off with wheels is always super, super, super fun. Locust God seems like a good finisher. I wonder if could this be a Lotus Field deck? The main challenge of these decks is just the expense. Like, emergency power, memory, really, really expensive to get going. Smothering Tithe helps a bit. I wonder if this could, like, somehow add the Lotus Field ramp plan. That could help get to the expensive cards. That does look fun, Mother Frogger. Yeah, it's just that's the issue with the deck is just very much so many expensive combo pieces. So if you can get them down, it leads to just like the most awesome combo turns. Maybe some more Wraths? I guess there's Supreme Verdict. My main concern would just be like, if you run into aggro, are we gonna get run over before we get to do the cool thing? That's what I remember trying to play this deck in standard is like when it works it's so cool, but when you run into aggro and you just have a bunch of emergency powers in hand, sometimes you get run over without really being able to do anything. It does look cool though. That would be another fun one to revisit. Yeah, I guess Prismari Command Treasure helps too. Your video with Siege Rhino without Siege Rhino is one of my favorites. Yeah, that's one of my best puns, I think. I was so excited that we actually were going to pull off the thing, and in the end, it just did not even matter. I wonder if the green, the Teamer Prowess deck, oh no, is this burn? Is this burn? Is this actually burn? Are we actually living the burn dream? I mean, if this is burn, like, we ought to win, right? Come on, show us that lightning bolt to the face. Actually, it is possible our opponent could be fast enough to beat us here. Like, we had to shock ourselves. We have to eagle. Aww. Alright, so Living End? Murktide? Some sort of graveyard. Are we getting dredged? Are we about to get dredged? Who plays Otherworldly Gaze? Now I'm actually, like, kind of scared about what's happening here. No one plays Otherworldly Gaze fairly. I mean, a reminder, if you need some Otherworldly Gazes, you can get them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. Yeah, rally me. Oh, this is just straight up dredge. Okay. Well, not feeling as good, although there's no dredger in the graveyard. So that's a tiny bit of good news. Opponent, City of Brass, gets in for 1. We don't really have any graveyard hate though. Oh no. Thrill of Discovery, that's definitely not good. Alright, 2 Stinkweeds, Dredges, Prized Amalgams, Dredges, Narcomoeba, and Silver Smoke, and an Ox. Well, I mean, that is what Dredge does. So we're pretty much just dead, honestly. Dredge on the play with you not having graveyard hate. This is exactly what they do. Maybe there's a world where we top track Martyr. Maybe that would do it. That would give us some tiny chance. But I think we have to, like, literally just top deck it right now. Abiding Grace is not a Martyr. Okay, so I guess we pass and see if we live. Oh, this is a brutal blowout. Dredge seems so much easier to play on Moto. Yeah, it's a pretty easy Moto deck, I think. The problem is they have this Ox in the graveyard, so they actually just get to dredge the rest of their deck here if they want to. We can start, like, pitching Solitudes. Do we even want to pitch a Solitude? Is it even worth it to try to keep playing this game? I mean, I guess we can go to the bitterest events here. Actually, no, we're gonna scoop. Because if we start pitching cards, we're not gonna be able to win with Martyr anyway. Do we have graveyard hate? 2 Unlicensed. Okay, I guess that's kind of graveyard hate. 2 Hallowed Moonlights, I guess that is very, very loosely graveyard hate. Sanctifier Infect, that is graveyard hate for some small percentage of our opponent's cards. Atomic Coco, welcome to the Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big soup cheer for you. Thank you. I mean, the problem is we can't really play stuff like Rest in Peace because we want our graveyard active for Emeria. So we could play like Grafdigger's Cage, Tormod's Crypt, that style of graveyard hate, but we can't really afford to play graveyard hate that shuts down our whole entire graveyard. Yeah, Reprieve doesn't do much against Dredge. hard counters can be okay if you can get like a Cathartic Reunion or something, but Reprieve in specific seems pretty bad. Is there a world where Hour of Revelation is good enough? It's a temporary answer, but it is sort of an answer. Elish Norn doesn't really do anything. The One Ring is good. Haywire Might doesn't do anything. And Giant Killer. Well, I guess that's what it is. Here we go. The thing is, yeah, Reprieving Cathartic Reunion. Ooh, the Zero Lander. That is the downside of these land cyclers, is we're only playing 22 lands, and if you get a hand where you literally don't have a land, the land cyclers don't actually count as lands. Well, this is about as much as we could hope for, I think. So Solitude at the bottom. Well, we'll see if it's fast enough. We got the Sanctifier, which does shut down some of our opponent's stuff. Will it be enough? Yeah, Winds of Abandon, I think, is actually a lot better than it gets credit for. Well, let's play the land. Oh, this is probably a pretty good Field of Ruin matchup, come to think of it. I don't think Dredge can afford to play many basics. They're probably playing like a basic, so we might actually be able to get him with the Strip Mine. Sanctifier shuts down every card with Dredge. They play unless they have Loam. But the Narcomoebas. What about the Narcomoebas? How do we beat a Narcomoeba? Yeah, I guess we can't run Cage either. It'd have to be like Soul Guide Lantern. It'd have to be something that only hits our opponent's graveyard. About it. Mana Confluence and biases. Well, there's an Eagle. Well, let's get in with Sanctifier. Hit ya. Field of Ruin and blow up the Mana Confluence. Grab a Plains. Strip Mine. Oh my goodness. Oh, that feels so good. No basics. No basics. The Greed of Dredge. Opponent actually has an answer for our Sanctifier. And another Mana Confluence. Opponent's not giving up. Demolition Field. Blow up your Mana Confluence. Strip Mine. Strip Mine number 2. Get in with the Thraben Inspector. If someone puts City of Brass and basics in the same decks and succeeds, they deserve a medal. Yeah, City of Brass is usually a sign that you're not going to see many basics. Opponent. Passing. Well, crack the clue. We got to keep doing it. We got to. How about that Sacred Foundry? Strip Mine number 3. Oh, this is the best day. Even if we lose to Dredge, I think it's worth it just for this. So good. Shouldn't you play one forest in this deck for Field of Ruin effects for Haywire Might? The problem is we can't really afford to have non-plains lands on the battlefield because of Emeria. So I think the cost is too high. It's already hard enough to get to 7 lands for Emeria, so I just don't think it's worth I don't think it's worth adding a non-plains to the battlefield. If you look at our lands, they're either all plains, or they can get a plains, or they're Emeria. So if we happen to draw our forest, then we have just like 8. Oh, this is very over. Then we have to get to 8 lands for Emeria, and that's a big number. I don't even know why your opponent's sticking with this one, honestly. Okay, there we go. There we go. Well, that was about as close to a flawless victory as we're gonna get in that matchup. Oh yeah, that was pretty good. Oh, so I'm curious, chat. What Magic have you all been playing lately? I gotta do you know what we need to do sometime? We need to do a WotC style poll. But for the Goldfish community, we need to do a WotC poll, because I'm very curious just, like, what you all play. Like, in the Goldfish community, the people hanging out in the stream, are we like the Commander crew, just like Magic in general? Have we mostly shifted to playing just Commander and not playing 60 card formats? Did you used to play 60 card formats? Now you only play Commander? Do you still play in paper? Or are you only playing on Arena or on Magic Online? We're gonna have to do that at some point because I'm very curious how you all interact with Magic. What, yeah, like Oathbreaker, some of the new formats, are they formats that you're actually interested in? Do you play? Never play Commander. Interesting, Stone Rain. Why do you never play Commander? See, we definitely got to do a poll on this because I really want to know the answers. I would play way more Cube if I had a Cube. I've several times started to build a cube and never got to the end of the cube, but I do love Cube. Dislike Commander. I play tier 2, tier 3 Legacy and Modern decks. Where do you play, Mike? Do you play in paper or digitally? I'm very curious because like the Magic community as a whole is so big. It's honestly too big for it to really matter to me. If that, like, I love the whole Magic community. That came out in the way I didn't mean. But like, what matters to every Magic player in the world isn't always super relevant for what we're doing here as far as like streams or on the YouTube. So I'd love to know like what our community, how we interact as a group with Magic. So I'm gonna work on, after we get Wild Zelda and stuff, I'm gonna work on a poll or something to put up and see. Let's see if we're fast enough. So the problem, we have the Sanctifier, which is huge, but Dredge can have their big turn on turn 2. If they can Cathartic Reunion into various Dredgers, they might be able to just go off before we can. Oh no, they even have the. Oh no. They might be able to go off before we can leave Hate Up since we're on the draw. So we might just be too far behind. Depending on how this goes. Oh, this is going to be close. This is going to be super close. Opponent. Go Gary Thug in the graveyard. That is Dredger, second best Dredger. So we get to Dredge 4. Come on. Let's dredge poorly, opponent. They don't dredge. Interesting. Mana Confluence. Well, here it is. This is it. This is it. Are we dead? Are we dead here? But does our opponent have the huge board before we get a chance? Opponent. Creeping Chill. Wow, I think we dodged. There's a prized amalgam. Oh, there is a silver smoke. Okay. So, opponent gets a board. A little board. But we get to Sanctifier. Probably in time. So, Sanctifier gets rid of the black cards, which is all the dredge cards. Get in with Martyr. We got a shot. That was not the best dredging. At all. Opponent, can you kill the Sanctifier? Ooh, they can. Okay. Well, that's a little unfortunate that they would have that. Opponent. Little do they know we have Hallowed Moonlight. Opponent passes. We draw Solitude. Ooh, okay. I'll play Field of Ruin. Get in Hitcha. I think we need to leave up the Hallowed Moonlight this turn and the Eagle. I think that's our best bet. Opponent, there's a chance. We got a chance. We fizzled that big turn. Otherworldly Gaze. Okay. Oh, if we can get rid of the portable hole. All right, there's a Narcomoeba. I don't even think we want to fizzle this Narcomoeba. It seems not worth it. Like, all they're getting is a Narcomoeba. City of Brass. Opponent combat attacks. Hits us. Sure. Down to 11. Well, Field of Ruin. Blow up the City of Brass. Grab a Plains. Eagles of the North. Plains Cycle. get a Plains. Untap. Winds of Abandon. Play the land. Pass the turn. Oh, we can start doing the martyr thing. Hey, Cease. Come here, Cease. Come say hi. People want to see you. Say hello to everyone. Say hello. Hey, Cease. I know. You're not really a streaming cat. Can you say hello? Say hello to everyone. Say hello. That was just for you, Cat Cam fan. Cease, I think Cease comes just to say hi to you because she knows you're waiting to see her. Yeah, there you go, Cease. There you go. All right, you can go to your kitty stuff. We're gonna beat Dredge real quick. Opponent, Narcomoeba. Okay. I mean, opponent's like very slowly building a board. Cathartic Reunion, Stinkweed, opponent, combat. Attacks. Well, Martyr, block. Sack. Gain a bit of life. Drop down to 22. Draw a Solitude. Oh, what do we do? Yeah, she's always meowing. She does like meowing. So we can One Ring. Our opponent's going to probably have a big turn. We can... I think we One Ring. I think we got to. Let's play the One Ring. Let's draw. We'd like to hit a land. Oh, Eagle. These Eagles have been punishing us a bit. All right. Well, we're not dying this turn. Opponent. Ooh, Creeping Chill's damage, so it doesn't actually work. So this fizzles. Yeah. Staying at 22. Opponent did find an Ox, so they can Ox if they want to. I mean, we are shields down. This is a turn we want shields down, except for the protection from the One Ring. Good evening to the man, the myth, the legend. I'm Goldfish, you're a beautiful person. I hope you're feeling gorgeous today. How are you? Well, sober Robert. Thank you for the kind words. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat. I'm doing well. We're playing some Emeria and actually having success with it, which is kind of sweet. I'm glad to know that this deck, this is another one of those, like, this is modern in 2023. It's a classic archetype that was good forever ago. Yeah, now we might need the One Rings or whatever, the Abiding Graces, the Solitudes, but it's really cool to see it actually having success again. Well, we're gonna One Ring. Draw another One Ring. Oh, we're so close to closing this game out. I feel like we're very, very close. So, play the land. Play Abiding Grace. Abiding Grace reanimates Martyr. And we also have the option to Hallowed Moonlight. If our opponent goes for the Ox... Wait, does that work? Opponent dredges, hits an Archetype. And a Creeping Chill. Yeah, I know. We gotta wait. We gotta wait on the Strip Mine, I think. Huh. So this gets back this and this. There's one more Creeping Chill. The question is, do we just Hallowed Moonlight? Yeah, Escape does still work, right? Do we Hallowed Moonlight or do we Martyr? I think we Hallowed Moonlight. All right, Hallowed Moonlight. Oh, another Martyr. So we take Creeping Chill damage, but that's okay. We're at 18. Narcomoeba doesn't get to come into play because we Hallowed Moonlighted. Our opponent can keep dredging if they want to, but is it even worth it? Opponent goes attacking. Well, let's block the silver smote. We're going to gain so much life next turn. Drop to 16 temporarily. Opponent, are we oxen? Wow, just runs out of thug. That's fine. Silver smote's going to go to exile. We untap. We drop to 14 for a minute. One ring, draw a few cards. Play a Martyr of Sands. Sack a Martyr of Sands. Gain a little bit of life. Play Demolition Field. Blow up your land. Strip mine achieved. Grab a plains. And pass the turn. Get back a Martyr of Sands. And I don't think there's any way we can lose from here. I think we have actually done it. Discard. And discard. I think we did it. I think we did it. I think we actually took down Dredge. I thought this was going to be a bad matchup, but apparently not. Yeah, I actually thought that Creeping Chill was going to work too until I read it again. It seems like the kind of card that should be loss of life, but it's actually not. Opponent gets in, hits us. All the way down to 26. And City of Brass. And Is it Oxide? I mean, our opponent's going to mill out, right? Isn't that the issue our opponent's going to have? They only have 16 cards left in their deck. So they can't keep dredging. They can't keep dredging or they just lose. And then we also have Winds of Abandon that we can overload to just really rub it in. Opponent. Narcomoebas. Sure, yes, go ahead, opponent. You can do your thing. Opponent has officially dredged their entire deck. Yep, it's not enough. They dredged it all, and it's not going to be enough. Opponent gets back a few prized amalgams. Well, let's Martyr of Sands real quick. This Winds of Abandon is going to make our opponent very sad. Gain some life. Sure. Cycle the Eagle. Grab a Blades. We got the GGs. And all we got to do, we'll take a little ring damage, sure. Overload it. Play Emeria. Pass the turn. About it. Library is empty. Oh, I guess we got to reanimate. Okay, get back the Martyr. Get back the Martyr. And we're up to 3-0. We're up to 3-0 with Emeria. It's actually working. That was actually kind of a blowout. Yeah, Winds, I feel like, is Winds actually underrated? We live in a world now where people don't play Path to Exile anymore. Because people don't play Path to Exile anymore, mana bases keep getting greedier. Maybe we live in a world where Winds is just, like, really good. Hey, good games, Tezzy. Maybe we live in a world where it's actually worth it. Maybe it should be played more often. Like, it's kind of like Dam in the sense where you get the early removal that's also a Wrath in the late game. That actually seems like an effect that could be worth it. Yeah, I feel like it's underrated in Commander as well. In Commander, one of the things I've started to appreciate more and more in Commander, we've had this weird relationship with Wraths. I feel like Wraths that just, like, keep happening drag on games of Commander in a way that I don't really enjoy. But I also feel like you really need to play Wraths in Commander because you don't want one person to just, like, go off and run away with the game. I don't enjoy those games either. So you have this weird dilemma where you need to play Wraths to keep one person from just, like, steamrolling the table. But if you play a bunch of Wraths, you end up sometimes in these games where it's just like, oh, Wraths sweep the board, nothing ever happens. So I've really come to appreciate the one-sided Wraths a lot more. I still kind of hate Cyclonic Rift because I think that card's just way too good. But I think wraths that leave your creatures on the table, or wraths that leave some of your creatures on the table, I think those effects are going more and more up in value for me in Commander in specific, just because I like the option to be able to close out the game rather than the like just looping of wraths, never ending style. So all that to say, I think I'm going to start trying more Winds of Abandon more. I always forget about that one, but I think I'm going to try it more in Commander. And plus, like, with Winds in Commander, you do ramp your opponent a bunch, which is probably a bad thing, but it might soften the blow a little bit. Kind of like Arcane Denial or whatever. Like, yes, giving your opponent cards to counter their spell isn't great, but it does make you less of an enemy, which is kind of great. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you'd be going for, is sweep the board, have a big enough board to yourself that you can one-shot someone, or the table if you get lucky. I mean, that's going to get easier, too, with White Craterhoof, right? White Craterhoof seems like, you know, this actually works because we have Eagles of the North to get us our first planes here. Elf, welcome to the Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big super for you. Thank you. Interesting to see how we played with Scam. Yeah, I don't know how the Scam matchup would go. I mean, the question would be, I think we win the late game. That's the nice thing about Emeria, is we win the late game. The question's always like, can we get there? And if we get scammed too hard, maybe we just never get to the late game. And then what good is winning the late game if you can't get there? Have we cast Eagles yet? No. I think it is pretty unlikely. I mean, there would be a day when it might happen, but I think it's pretty unlikely we cast Eagles. We pretty much always just cycle it. We haven't actually gotten Emeria on yet. So we've had games where we would have gotten Emeria on, but whenever we get to the point of having Emeria on, our opponents just scoop. So we never actually get to see it go, which makes sense because Emeria is like kind of unbeatable if you can't stop it. Well, okay, speak of the devil. Speak of the devil. How do we do against Scam? We are about to find out. At least we're on the play. That's some tiny bit of good news. Yeah, I guess we'll take Temple Garden. Yeah, I don't know if we beat Scam or not, honestly. So opponent's gonna strip our hand, doing the Scam stuff. They pitch a Bowmasters. Oh, they should have plenty of basics, unfortunately, so we're not gonna be strip mining anytime soon. Well, take what you want, opponent. Take what you want. Yeah, people keep asking about Haywire Might. Eagle being able to get the Temple Garden does. That's like our fetched land, essentially. Do you think the Eagles is better than the white MDFC? Maybe a 2-2 split. Wait, what mono white MDFC? Emeria's Call. So, the problem with MDFCs in this deck is, and I love MDFCs, but they aren't planes. Like this deck in specific, every land that we play needs to be a plains or produce a plane, get a plains, like a Field of Ruin, outside of Emeria itself. So I actually don't really like MDFCs in this deck just because they're non-plane lands. In Emeria, like you really can't afford any lands at all that are not planes. Or Field of Ruin effects to get them. Abundance. Alright, so opponent did their scam stuff. They're down to 3 cards in hand. We're down to 4 cards in hand. What a weird deck. It's just like everyone starts with half a hand. It's like the opposite of Companion. Companion was pretty busted because you got to start with an extra card in hand. The scam matchup is just like, what if everyone started with half the amount of cards in hand? And it seems to usually work out in Scam's favor. Well, let's play a Martyr pass the turn. Yeah, we take a Winds of Abandon. I mean, we're not out of this game by any stretch. We're at 20. We have answers to the grief we can draw. We can gain some life at some point if we have to. Eventually, we're going to start firing off Fields of Ruin to thin our deck. About it. Gonna get in with the grief. I mean, the thing is, the scam deck does empty their own hand, too. Our opponent is also down to 3 cards, so it's not like they have that much action. Although they do have, like, Seasoned Pyros and stuff to refuel. All right, Bona hits us. Sure. Down to 16. You know what would actually be our best draw is probably just Abiding Grace. If we can just start looping the Martyr, that might be enough. Blood Crypt untapped. And... oh, jeez. Okay, well, that actually probably beats us. That's unfortunate. Are we sacking this? Yeah, okay. That is actually a draw that we probably aren't going to beat. Just the scam is one thing, but scam into Voidwalker is... I mean, that's Modern Horizons nut draw, right? Turn 1, you double grief. Turn 2, Voidwalker. I don't think anyone's ever beat that. All right, well, opponent 7 power and their graveyard shut down. So we need to draw like Skyclave, I guess. Thraben Inspector. Well, is there even any point in Demolition Fielding? They just gonna land anyway. Let's just play Thraben Inspector. Played, we might have been, I mean, there is a reason that Scam is the #1 deck in Modern at the moment. It is a very good archetype. Thraben Inspector, go. Yeah, we're 3-0 at the moment, although we're about to lose this game, I think. We're sort of getting scammed a little bit. So what you're saying is Wizards should put Grief as a companion. Yes. That's what we need is companion Grief. Oh, were you not here, Die? Opponent gets in. Hits us to 12. Well, let's draw a card. More Demolition Fields. Oh, even more lands. All right, things are getting worse. Things are getting worse by the second. Well, that's Field of Ruin. I mean, this deck's going to have plenty of basics. So strip mining seems unlikely. Were you not here, Di? We went over the deck when you came back. So short version of what we went over before. I really like the idea of the Otter in the deck. I think Otter's a really cool card. I think that having spell-slingery style creatures that also are spells is a really powerful effect for spell slinger decks, because you often run into issues where it's hard to have enough prowess creatures and still have enough spells. Like you gotta have this weird mix. You're walking this tightrope between spells to trigger your things and things to be triggered by your spells, and having these adventures that are both in one, really powerful. Like a 1-mana 1/1 prowess that is also a cheap spell. That's just a very, very strong effect for a spell slinger deck. So I really like the Otter. I think the deck itself, oh boy, yeah, that's just as good as a... I mean, I guess we won't scoop, but that is as good as a scam hand can be, I think. Is turn 1 Double Grief, turn 2 Voidwalker, turn 3 Bowmasters. That's just kind of the... Sometimes you run into matchups in Modern where you just, really not much of what you do matters, and your opponent's hand is just going to win no matter what. And I think that's just one of those hands where, sometimes that's a draw you have, and when you have that draw, you just, you thank the Magic gods because you know you're gonna win. Opponent goes attacking. Yeah, there's no... What would our possible out be? It was the One Ring, but now with Bowmasters, that's not even an out. So, man, scam doing scam things. Scammer's gonna scam. So the Raw Priest deck, yeah, I really like the Otter. Really cool idea. The deck itself, I think, the Raw Priest deck, it's still kind of what the Raw Priest deck is, where it's very explosive, one of the fastest, probably the fastest combo deck that exists in Standard, but it also can really struggle with a removal heavy deck. So I'm a little worried about like how strong it'll be in Standard, just because there's no rotation or anything. So we still have Dimir, Esper Control, like the top tier of the meta is just so removal heavy, and best of 3 in specific. But I do think that Otter is a really nice upgrade for the deck. So I don't know if it solves the deck problem, which is if your opponent just always kills your Rot Priest, it's hard to actually like win with it. So I don't know if it solves the issue with the deck, but I do think it's a really nice addition to the deck, and it seems like perfect. I guess maybe it does solve it in the sense that maybe you have more of a backup plan where you just like play Otter and try to cast spells and attack with it. But it does seem like a really cool addition to the deck. All right, so Scam. I mean, Sanctifier is really good if we can get it down. Hallowed Moonlight is not good. Celestial Purge, maybe. Is hers even worth it? I don't know if it's worth it. Do you have a sideboard? Ooh, so if I was gonna sideboard, are you trying to play best of 3? So in best of 3, I think you mostly just want to overload on stuff that can try to protect your team. So I'd be looking towards like cheap counter spells like Spell Pierce or Make Disappear. You're already off to a good start with like more ways to protect your team. I don't know if there's any way to really transform this deck into something else because so many of the pieces are just like so combo focused. So I don't know if there's like I'm going to not try to win with the like Rot Priest shenanigans and IV shenanigans plan that you can sideboard in. So I'd probably just overload on counter spells, maybe some removal. There's some good removal in the Wilds of Eldraine set, so maybe the whale for removal or some of the enchantments that can work as removal, just to like slow down your opponent's biggest threat. But I'd be looking just protection, counters, maybe a bit of removal, and that would probably be the sideboard for the most part. But speaking of sideboarding, we also should do some sideboarding real quick. Should also do a little bit of sideboarding. I feel like hers is unlikely to be fast enough to matter. All right, yeah, let's try it like that. All right, we get to play first. I mean, we're going to keep it. If we get scammed, it might not matter, but this is a good hand. Did you see the Girl in the Fireplace from Doctor Who? Might be my favorite saga of all time, and I don't even know the show. Yeah, we were looking at them earlier. The new sagas are definitely super sweet. The new Angel is also very, very spicy. Girl in the Fireplace, it's just weird. I think it's like, so it's only 3 mana, which is good. You're off to a cheap starting point. It is, I don't know Doctor Who either. So many of the abilities are so Doctor Who, they're just very strange. So you make so lore counter 1, you make a 1/1 that vanishes in 3 turns, but it says prevent all damage that we dealt to it. So comes down and it essentially just eats a attacker for a few turns. Create a 2/2 horse with doctors have horsemanship, which is, I don't even know what they're doing. And then whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player this turn, time travel, which I think just means remove a counter from suspended stuff. I'm pretty sure. It is definitely a cool card. It's going to be interesting to see. One of the challenges, I think, with these sets is like, so they probably have the scam hand. Yeah, we're going to play Thrabes. We're going to play Thraben Inspector. There might be some argument to cycling to try to get Sanctifier down, but I think we have to expect that we're getting double grief this turn. So I think the idea of waiting and cycling to get a land for Sanctifier, it just probably doesn't matter because there's not going to be a Sanctifier because our opponent's not going to keep 7 unless they're scamming, I don't think. I would be surprised if they kept 7 if they weren't scamming. Bound it. Blood Grip. Untapped. Oh god, it's Ragavad. Oh, they weren't scamming. We could. Okay, let's just draw White Source. Untap White Source. Thraben Inspector. All right. Well, we will. Oh, so we could have actually done it. So we will Plane Cycle. Temple Garden untapped. My whole speech went for nothing. Play another Thraben Inspector. And pass the turn. Maybe they're scamming with Fury. But yeah, I think the Doctor Who set definitely has some some spicy cards. It'll be interesting. They're just so focused on doctors that I'm not sure how much they're going to work with magic in general. I wonder, like, how parasitic are these, some of these Universes Beyond sets? I guess, so they're not, maybe parasitic is too harsh of a term, but like in the sense that, so you can play this in any deck, but it kind of specifically wants you to play a bunch of doctors, and outside of Changelings, we just don't have doctors in Magic, so it's going to be interesting to see how that actually shakes out in the end. Wow, is our opponent still not scamming? Okay. Well, this is going incredibly much better than I was expecting, like by a million billion miles. Well, let's play a Sanctifier in back. I did not. Why did our opponent keep this hand? Why play Scam if you're just going to play Ragavan and then pass turn 2? I'm actually surprised. I would think you would ship that one back to try to do something explosive. Yeah, so we also got Moto news. I gotta say, I gotta give Daybreak Games a huge amount of credit. Daybreak Games taking over Magic Online has been the best thing to happen to Magic Online in a long time. I was a little scared because when we first started, I didn't know who Daybreak Games was. And when I heard that Magic Online was being taken over by them, the thing a lot of people said is, like, that's where games go to die. Like, they keep these games barely running and milk them of money for as long as they can. It has been anything but that with Magic Online. So I am actually, like, blown away. They're making updates. They're adding more commander cards. And they actually started adding Infinity cards. The ones that see play in Legacy are being added to Magic Online. There's a little bit of weirdness. So the card in specific, also news, Super League's coming back. Super League's one of my favorite modern Magic events of all time. So super excited to see Super Leagues returning after a really long time. Where's the list of Infinity cards? But anyway, they're bringing the Infinity cards. I know there's a list here somewhere. They're bringing some of the Infinity cards, the ones that are tournament legal, to Moto for the first time. I'm curious what people think about it, because one of the big ones was Mind Goblin or Blank Goblin, which occasionally, is the list really not here? I know I read this somewhere. Well, oh wait, there's another article. I still don't. Here we go. Okay, so here it is. Too many articles. Whose turn is it? Our turn still. All right, go ahead. So they're bringing, I'm curious what people think of this solution. So they're bringing Blank Goblin to Magic Online for the first time. Blank Goblin is the one where when it ETBs, you put a sticker on it, and then you get to make mana equal to the number of letters in the sticker, I believe. But there's no stickers on Magic Online. So they've decided to turn it into a die roll. So when it ETBs, you roll a d20, and then you get an amount of mana based on what you roll, which it's supposed to be based on the sticker sheets. The math is supposed to be similar, but it doesn't play exactly the same. Is this a fair solution? Like, would we rather have the card on Moto, but it doesn't work exactly the same as in paper? Or would we rather have the card not on Moto, even though it exists in paper? And I might regret saying this, because I heard someone say, oh, this is like alchemy on, it's like alchemy on Moto, which I don't think that's really the intention. I think I would rather have the card exist in this case. Like, so here's the thing. When it comes down to it, the problem is stickers. The problem is Wizards' harebrained scheme to make stickers a paper mechanic that can't work anywhere and make it unset paper like, I don't blame Moto for this. I blame Wizards for the absolutely mind-blowingly horrible idea to make stickers a mechanic and make unsets tournament legal in some cases. That's the problem. The problem isn't this workaround to try to make the card halfway function on Magic Online. The problem is the whole idea to begin with. And then it flopped anyway. It was like, now they might not ever make unsets anymore because it flopped so hard. So it's hard for me to take it out on Magic Online when I think we knew at the time. Remember when stickers were spoiled and like tournament legal unsets were announced? That was not something people were thrilled about. We knew at the time that was not probably going to end well, and it actually didn't end well. So that's what I blame. I think in this scenario, I would rather have the janky workaround and have Mind Goblin or whatever it is be like 90%, 95% of what it is in paper than not have it exist at all. I think it's meaningful enough to tournament play that'd be worth it. They shouldn't have made it tournament legal. There's like no real gain for the only gain is for WotC's pocketbook. There's no real gain for the game and for players and for Magic Online and for like anyone. The only thing it possibly does is try to make the set sell more, and the set didn't even sell more because they're talking about it being a flop and how they might not be able to make more unsets because it was such a flop. So if anything, it might have backfired because it turned some people off that they were making it tournament legal. And it wasn't just like, haha, funny joke set with cool lands or whatever. So I think it like really like almost doubly backfired in that case. It's insane to me that Wizards thought the problem with uncards is the silver border and not that they're not legal in most formats. Yeah, I mean, at this point, and I feel bad because I love Mark Rosewater. I feel like Mark Rosewater has done a ton of awesome things for Magic. I know he loves his unsets. They're like that's like his baby. It's one of his pet projects. At this point, though, I do sort of feel like unsets are just like unnecessary. I feel like in a world where you can print Raging Battle Mice and Transformers and One Rings and like every joke and pun imaginable into a normal set, I don't know if there's any real reason to have unsets anymore. Just put them in a normal set. Like you can put all your jokes in there. So what's wow, okay, well, that's unfortunate. So our opponent had double Bowmaster's Hand into the One Ring. So they're going to shoot down our Thraben Inspectors. They're going to amass a huge army. Yeah, this is real bad. Okay, yeah, Bowmaster, pretty busted. Pretty busted. Oh, this scam deck just plays all the most busted cards, doesn't it? If it's busted, it's in. So now what do we do is the question. At this point, things are looking grim. How do we get out of this? So opponent amasses a huge army. Goes off with the Bowmasters. Yup. Kills the Thraben Inspector. Well, we can 1, 2, 3 Skyclave. Get rid of a Bowmaster. That's a 6/6. That is a 6/6. So get rid of the Bowmaster. Field of Ruin. Play a Haywire Might. Pass the turn. This is what we got. Seth, would you play this on Salt Week? A deck I threw together a while back. Ooh, let me take a look. Have any of you ever bought a unset? That's something else for our future survey that we got to do at some point. Is that something anyone actually bought? I don't think I've ever bought an unset. Maybe like a random like one-off booster or whatever, but I've definitely never bought like a booster box of an unset or whatever. I know that much for sure. Well, get rid of the Filigree Silex so we don't lose our Sanctifier. We really need the Sanctifier to hold or else we're going to be dead. Okay, so an unset draft. I have done an unset draft before. I guess that's true. What did you think of the unset draft? I did the most. So when we went to Vegas last year, also I believe the Goldfish Crew is going to be in Vegas this year. If you happen to be in Vegas, come in, look us up. Opponent with a big attack. Now we are going to block and see what happens. Take the 6. Try to sweep the board so we can start drawing cards again. Opponent. Are they scamming? All right, feign death. We did so someone had a booster box. I can't remember. It might have been Tomer. Someone had a booster box. So this doesn't actually work though, right? Because we have Sanctifier. Don't these just get exiled? Is our opponent not realizing this? Wow. Oh, that is kind of a huge pun. Our opponent just emptied their hand, not realizing the Sanctifier exiles them. They don't come back. We got rid of it. Oh, we have a shot. We actually have a shot. We are dying to our 1 ring, but we actually have a shot. Oh, goodness. We actually have a shot. So let's draw a few cards. Ooh, Mom. All right. Play the Field of Ruin. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play another 1 ring. Legend Rule. Get the new ring. Get some protection for the turn. Go to combat. Hit ya. With the Skyclave. We also found the Winds of Abandon. Winds of Abandon's been our sneaky all-star here. Yeah, past the turn, we might be back in it. Can Haywire eat your own 1 ring? It can. Any non-creature artifact or enchantment. That is one of the sneaky upsides. All right, opponent has a Fable. Sure. That is fine. Makes a Goblin. I think we might actually win this. Opponent. We are protected. Well, let's draw a card with the clue. Draw a card with the 1 ring. If we can find a martyr, I guess we can Ranger Captain a martyr if we have to. But I feel like martyr gaining us a bunch of life is probably just going to put this game out of reach for our opponent. So the 1 ring takes up. Solitude 2. Well, 1, 2, 3. Ranger Captain. Yeah, this is the big swing. This is what we were waiting for. So now we get to gain back all the life we've lost and more. Grab a martyr. Play the martyr. Pass the turn. And once we gain 15, I think this one's over. Opponent. I'm gonna do some looting. Sure. Is there a chance we go 5-0? We're still technically undefeated with this deck. Relatively new returning player. What is the advantage of playing on this client versus the arena client? Are the cards free on this client giving you more freedom to create what you like? So the biggest difference, the name Davis, we play both. We play arena and also Magic Online. The biggest difference is Magic Arena only has the most recent few years of cards. So you can play standard, you can play draft to the most recent set, and then there's some formats like historic that they made up for arena. Magic Online has modern and pioneer and legacy, has all the cards over Magic's 30-year history. So basically, you just get more formats. So we play both. If we're playing standard, we play on Magic Arena. Like if you come back on Thursday's stream for Wilds of Eldraine Early Access, we'll definitely be playing Arena for that. Do we draw in response? I think we do. We want as many white cards as possible to gain as much life as possible. And then I think we'll actually crack the clue too. So draw a ton of cards. All the white cards. Martyr. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So like Am I missing cards? 7, 8. So, like, we actually just couldn't play this deck. We actually just couldn't play this deck on Arena because the cards for it don't exist and the format doesn't exist. Yeah, Martyr's pretty good. Martyr's pretty good. Yeah, in general, draw the cards first and then use the Martyr, and opponent scoops it up. Well, okay. We survived. However, we got to do it with our opponent being on the play, and that is very, very scary. Very scary. Because that means our opponent can potentially combo off on turn 1 before we can do anything, which is a concern. All right, run it like that. Run it back. Yeah, Martyr is actually really powerful. Why do we not see Martyr see play more? I'm actually, like, wondering why Martyr is not more of a presence in Modern. I mean, I guess there's matchups where gaining life just doesn't matter, so that's probably the real answer. Like, in the matchups where it's good, it's really good, but then there's also matchups where your opponent just doesn't care. Yeah, I was thinking that too, that maybe Leyline would actually be worth it, just to protect against the scamming. Although I don't know, how far could we mulligan for it? Would we mulligan that aggressively? Yeah, like Tron, for example. Tron doesn't care. Although against Tron we do have like a million Field of Ruin effects, which is sweet. But Tron doesn't care if we gain a bunch of life. Various combo decks like Amulet Titan. I guess Amulet Titan, do they care? Not really. It might keep us alive for a turn, but when they're going off, they're gonna like super go off. Is the 4 of 1 ring just a necessary evil because everyone plays it? I mean, basically. I mean, it's just so powerful. Yeah. There are decks that don't need the 1 ring. Do we keep this? This hand seems pretty slow. I think we get a mulligan. Like, that hand loses to everything. Well, this we can try. We will keep. Mulliganing against Scam is always very scary. We will keep. We'll put an unlicensed Hearse to the bottom. And, all right. How about no scamming? No scamming? No scamming, no Ragavan? Nothing, just nothing. Nothing on turn. Tap land go. How about a tap land go? Blood Crypt. Untapped. Okay, we did not get our wish. That's bad. Yeah, this is where it really hurts. So there's the grief. Pitching an Undying Malice. I mean, our opponent got 7 and didn't do anything last game, so I don't know if this opponent in specific values mulliganing for the scam hand that high. Yeah, I think we've been scammed. With this, I forgot this deck. Would this count as a salty commander deck? Ooh, that does have some pretty salty stuff. Gain control. Do we have synergies for this? Do we have ways to turn everything into enchantments? Well, Land of Equilibrium, Enchanted Evening. This looks pretty salty. Lavinia is salty. Or a Thief Enchanted Evening is kind of hilarious. I want to pull that off sometime. I don't think I've ever done that. I don't think I've ever done that before. Opponent, yeah. Takes a Martyr and then scams the grief, gets back again. Yep. Martyr is just less grinding, less powerful in a vacuum than Elementals. That might be. All right, more thought seizing incoming. Scam. I feel like this is like not the most interesting play pattern. Like, it either does this or else it's just like a bad deck of, wow, boy, that deck is so. I'm just looking at the scam deck list. It's kind of wild how new it is. MH2, Lord of the Rings, MH2. So all the creatures are from Modern Horizons 2 to present. Everyone. And Fable, I guess, is the other pseudo creature, is also a new card. Definitely crazy to just see a format like Modern so shaken up by a handful of sets. I feel like we talked about this a little bit before. I think power creep gets a bad name. I think power creep is good. Seeing like Savannah Lions power crept and Divination power crept, I think that's really good. On the other hand, I think a lot of the angst, rightly, about power creep comes from just seeing stuff like this. Like, this is what you don't want. I think this is what you don't want to see. You don't want to see so many cards rise to the top of the format so quickly. I feel like Modern Horizons, I think every card in Modern Horizons 2 is probably a fine card to add to Modern. But I think the amount of power they added with Modern Horizons 2 needed to take place over like 5 years or 10 years instead of one set. I think that's the TLDR, basically. We need a top deck right now. Oh, so opponent kept one land, too. One land Scam Ragavan. Yeah, well, that is what Scam does. So I think the pace just needs to be a little slower. Played Modern last weekend. Every player on my table turn 1 preordained. Really? I feel like preordain has not had a major impact on Modern so far from what I've seen. I mean, I've seen it show up in decks, but I haven't really seen... Alright, opponent steals Winds of Abandon. That would have actually been a pretty good draw, come to think of it. I do kind of hate Ragavan. It makes Scam even more scammy. Like, not only are you doing the grief scam, you also have the monkey scam. so much scam. So yeah, I wish the power creep pace was a little slower. Power creep cards that aren't played into something playable don't power creep great cards into ban-worthy cards. Alright, sure. Well, the monkey allows the one-lander to pay off. And yeah, I mean, that's it. It looks like the Modern Horizons 2 set list staring us down here on turn 2. Oh, sure. Well, yeah, I mean, Fair Magic is not going to beat Scam on the play. Do you think the One Ring makes the format worse or helps override the play draw disadvantage? Oh, I mean, One Ring is going to have to be... I do not see a way that One Ring does not end up getting banned in Modern. I think that One Ring is... It's kind of like Soul Ring in Commander or something, where it's just like such a huge level of staple that it's not healthy as a colorless card. It's funny because I think this is like the Universes Beyond exception, because we've seen Wizards realize that like colorless cards that can go in any deck are scary, problematic cards a lot of times. So we've started to see a lot of like artifacts be colored instead of being colorless recently. So usually when you see a really pushed artifact now, it'll be a colored card. I feel like they just made an exception for Lord of the Rings and just like went all... Did you see... Oh, this was the most interesting part. Did any of you see Canister's video about how he was contracted to help with the Lord of the Rings set? Like look over the set list and give feedback to Wizards about the designs for Modern. That I thought that was an incredibly interesting look at how these cards turned out. The thing that blew me away is the cards we're talking about, the One Ring and Bowmasters, the versions that the people contracted to look at the set saw were so much different than what I ended up seeing print. So the One Ring, if you didn't watch the video, when the contractors, the modern players who were helping look things over, when they saw the One Ring, it was like a 5 mana equipment that you had to like sack creatures to equip and then could wheel away your hand if you dealt combat damage or something. And it was just like totally not playable. So that's the version that the modern playtesters saw, and we're like, oh, this is like a commander card, maybe? This is not going to do anything in Modern. And then Orcish Bowmasters was, when it enters the battlefield, deal 1 damage. And then when your opponent draws an extra card outside of their draw step, then you amass. So rather than do both every time. It was ETB ping, and then extra cards amass the zombie. And they're like, yeah, this probably isn't really going to see much play in Modern. And then they ended up really changing it to really, really power them up. So it makes me wonder, on one hand, I'm glad they're asking Modern players about, like, getting other eyes on their design process. I think that's probably very wise. On the other hand, how much value is having Canister or Spike or whoever see a 5-mana equipment version of the One Ring that obviously isn't playable anywhere, and then changing it to something that's just like it's not like they tweaked the numbers or something. They just like made a whole new card out of it, really. So I wonder how much value there is to showing the testers something that changed so much. Maybe it's just an unavoidable part of the design process with how long it takes. I guess it was like 2021. I want to say it was like 2 years ago is when they were actually designing the set. It's just such a long process. But it was interesting to see that, like, it definitely seems like both of those cards ended up being pretty powered up. The other thing they said is Wizards had, like, explicitly said they were looking to have like 3 to 5 cards that would impact Modern or something. That the set was not supposed to be a Modern Horizon set. It was supposed to have like 3 to 5 cards that would potentially have an impact on the format. Was what they were going for as far as Modern impact. And then if some other lower cards also like had impact, that was okay. But that was what they were shooting for, was just a handful of cards that would have an impact. And in that sense, I think they did. I mean, One Ring, Bowmasters, Delighted Halfling. Once you get beyond that, you're a little more... I guess Sam, you could argue, has had a pretty big impact. Ooh, wait, did we just get a strip mine? No. You can argue that Sam, I guess, has actually made kind of a big impact. But really, I feel like numbers-wise, they kind of hit it. All right, opponent's passing. So it looks like we're up against Rhinos. Everyone's favorite Rhinos. Well, getting to hit you. How many basics does Rhinos play? 2? How about 2? Let's see. Crashing Footfalls. How many basics are we going with? 2 islands. 4? No. Wait, maybe that build is weird. 2 islands, 1 mountain, 1 forest. 4. That's too many. Rhino players need to get greedier. Rhino players need to get a little greedier for us to strip mine them. How good do you think the creature lands from Wild's Eldraine will be? I'm still like, I've heard people say they don't even think they're going to be good in Standard, but they gotta be good in Standard, right? When's the next Viewer Battle stream and Legacy stream? So after Wilds of Eldraine releases, I don't know when the next Legacy stream will be. That's kind of random when that happens. Viewer Battle, I think, probably a couple weeks after Wilds of Eldraine releases. But I don't have the exact date. For 60 card formats, I guess. I mean, I think for Standard in specific, I don't have high hopes that they're good enough for Modern. We don't see tap lands really show up in Modern at this point. So I think Modern's probably a non-starter, but they got to be good enough for Standard, right? Isn't a Bivouac a cow? I feel like that seems like a cow. I don't know why I think that's a cow. I want a One Ring, but I feel like our opponent's probably leaving up Force Negation. Let's blow up the breeding pool. Maybe this is a very specifically greedy Rhino player who is not playing enough basics. Opponent floats a blue mana. Okay, they have another island, so there's basic number 3. We grab a Plains. We'll play a Thraben Inspector, get a clue. Opponent. Subtlety, eh? Yeah, we'll go bottom. Put it to the bottom, pass the turn. So opponent I guess we kind of ramped him into that. Maybe that was not worth it. Opponent wanted foothills. Was trying to play around our opponent just force of negating our One Ring, but haven't played Pauper in so long. There's so many new cards. How's Pauper these days, your drunk daddy? That would be a fun one to revisit at some point. Pauper is I have such a weird relationship with Pauper where there's times where I really enjoy it, but then it just gets so broken that I end up not enjoying it. But maybe it's in a better spot now that they've added the new like committee to deal with bannings and so forth. Maybe that's enough to make it worth it. Have you run into issues? 'Cause I'm remembering like they print Peregrine Dake and it's like a one deck meta for a year before they finally do anything about it or whatever. Has that aspect of things gotten better with the new like committee or whatever that's doing the bannings? Well, let's see if we can sell MH2 Wars here. See if our free evoke elemental can stop our opponent's free evoke elemental. All right, opponent is going to mystical dispute it. Interesting. Okay, so opponent gets in for 3. I mean, they're not going to win just by beating us down. That seems unlikely. Pauper tends to not be fun for brewers like Seth because there's a smaller card pool. What about another Vintage Cube stream? I don't know. Whenever I do limited, the streams aren't super popular. So I feel like I don't do them very often just for that reason mostly. All right, opponent dead to kill the Martyr of Sands. Well, let's see if they can also counter the One Ring. If that turn is counter, kill, counter the One Ring, I'm going to be very sad. One Ring. So now they need Force of Negation blue card. Wow. Okay. So our opponent has, they just had every bit of it. Every bit. We'll play the Martyr of Sands past the turn. And now they're going to untap and play Rhinos. Counter, counter, kill, and then play Rhinos. No, you don't really have another... Okay. Sure. Opponent gets in, goes attacking. Well, that is kind of unfortunate. Down to 11. We draw Field of Ruin. Well, we will Field of Ruin, blow up this. We got to be running them out of basic lands, right? This is just how this works mathematically. There's no way. Wow, they're playing so many. Skyclave Apparition. Get rid of this subtlety. Play the Field of Ruin. We need Abiding Grace. We need to find Abiding Grace. That's what we need to find. Opponent cracks a Misty Rainforest. Gonna get red mana. Steam Vents. Untapped. No. You really do have the Rhinos too? Oh, they just have every Dead Gone in existence. Okay. So opponent drew all the Dead Gones. Well, we're running out of time if we're going to find something. We're running out of time. Opponent goes to combat, gets in with the illusion. Passes. We draw even more planes. Well, blow up the Steam Vents. Opponent floats a mana. We'll get a planes. That's got to be it. That's got to be okay. Finally a strip mine. Not easy, not pretty, but finally. And we'll pass the turn. We'll play the Cami. Oh, we need to draw something. We need to draw something about it. Seriously. All right, opponent. Top deck Stardust Agent to make Rhinos. Wow, this has been a nightmarish way for this game to go. Opponent didn't have Rhinos. They just had every control card in their deck. Well, I mean, we need to top deck something basically now. Basically now, or we're going to die. I guess technically we have 2 turns because we can sack the Cami, but opponent's probably holding another Force and blue card somehow. This is it. This is it. When was the last time you actually did a Pauper video? Been a long time. It's been a while. It's been a couple of years at least. Should try One Land Spy. That could be a fun one to try at some point. Have a pauper list. It's great fun. Build around Converter Beast. Ooh. All right. And we draw. Well, I mean, the One Ring does technically keep us alive. One Ring. Draw a card. Reprieve. Well, okay. We are going to die to the One Ring, though. Opponent goes to combat. Opponent can't attack. Well, I guess they can attack. It just doesn't do anything. We still are dying, though. What a weird game. So we drop to 2. We draw. Haywire Might. Oh, but we don't have green mana, so we have to literally draw another One Ring. Oh, brutal. Brutal. Rhinos. You think Pauper would be... So, I mean, they occasionally do things like... They occasionally do artisan events where you get to play commons and uncommons. I think one of the reasons Wizards isn't probably ever going to push those formats more is I think they're just not profitable for them. I think that's the biggest issue, really. Is I don't think they really want people to be spending only common and uncommon wild cards. Wizards has a pretty big interest in you spending rare and mythic wild cards, so that's kind of the reason I think that we don't see more support for that. Jun Gardens. Ooh, I do love me some Kadoltha Rebirth. Kadoltha Rebirth is a cool card. So do you want to see more Pauper? Is that Glimmer Baron's also a cool card? I mean, that's one of the neat things, I guess, about Pauper is stuff like Glimmer Baron that just isn't really good enough for other formats and is a neat design. Actually has a chance to shine there. Converter Flicker. Enters the battlefield, incubate 5. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, 5/5s are pretty big in Pauper, so just kind of ramp into Converter Beast, do some blinking, make some 5/5s. I'm curious. That would be something good to add to the poll. I feel like Pauper has... My experience has been... Hey, what's up, dear Michello? How are you? Good to see ya. Yeah, we're in our last match. Our last match of the league. How have you been? I feel like Pauper has one of those formats that it has a really dedicated fan base, but I don't know if it's that big of a fan base. I know there's a hardcore crowd that's going to watch it every single time there's a Pauper video. Oh, really? Where do you travel to, dear Michello? Pauper on Arena is pretty boring. Pauper is defined by broken cards supporting mediocre finishers. On Arena, we don't really have enough broken cards. Interesting. So you think Artisan's a better way to go on Arena Rooker? Like, if Wizards was really willing to dump their support behind one of them, that would be the best one. I mean, we started off 3-0, then we got scammed, but now we're down a game to the Rhinos, so we'll see. Would be nice if we got I mean, either way, we got a treasure chest locked in, so that's the good news. Would be nice to get the 4-1, although we'll see. Rhinos, also pretty annoying. Hey, Seth. I've been playing around in NBL Historic. Been playing Natural Order and Nyx Plumage to get billions of mana for Torment of Veilfire. Ooh. How do you... One ring, but nothing before that? Is that even... We are on the play. I mean, the One Ring is busted. You know what? I think we actually keep this. I think we want to keep this. How do you like the no ban list historic? We did oh no. Oh. That's super bad. I'm actually surprised Gemstone Caverns is legal. I feel like this is the kind of card. If they're gonna ban my sweet Simian Spirit Guides, I feel like Simian Spirit Guide, but it's a land and it only works half the time, is like, it's such a swingy fast mana card that I'm seeing it's becoming more and more in Modern a card you're seeing 4 copies of in a sideboard, just because speeding your deck up by a turn is so impactful. I think I'm just salty that they banned Simian Spirit Guide. But they went after fast mana so aggressively that I wonder if this could ever be on their radar, just because it's like restricted, but it is, when it works, it's like ridiculously powerful to start up a permanent City of Brass that isn't painful. I once tapped a Gaia's Cradle for 4.6 quadrillion mana. How did you get 10 Nyx Plumes, Mega Magikarp? That's a huge number. Has the meta developed more to people not just playing a channel? When we played it like the first day after they started the event, and probably 60+% of our matchups were just turned to channel. Like, that's all people were doing. All right, there's the Shardless Agent into the Rhinos. No restore balance, unfortunately. You're the second person here talking about speeding up your deck a turn, LSP being another. Yeah, I think this card's going to see more and more play in Modern until something changes with it, but that's my expectation. Well, this hand would have been good if our opponent didn't have the Gemstone Cavern Star. I think the One Ring plan would have been good enough, but the fact that our opponent... So our game plan was, yes, they're going to Rhino, but the turn they Rhino, we get to follow up with the One Ring and gain protection and draw 3, and then we get to keep looping One Rings, and that should be fine. Unfortunately, because our opponent had the Gemstone Caverns, they get to attack with the Rhinos and have all their mana up to counter the One Ring. So I think that we'll see how it plays out, but if we lose, I think it's because of the extra turn, the extra turn that they were given because of this Gemstone Caverns, essentially. Like, we thought we were on the play, but actually our opponent was on the play. That's the power of Gemstone Caverns. She has a bunch of things. She has a bunch of things that do copy. I'm green-white, so no efficient blue cards to do it. All right, there's the... Yeah, boy, it played out just like that. The Force of Negation with the mana that's available because of the Gemstone Caverns cascading a turn early. What's the ones that you believe has never been truly appreciated in all formats? I mean, probably like Homelands, Fallen Empires. Although those sets are... deserve to not be appreciated in any format, I think, because they're so bad. I've heard a lot of people talking about Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate as being a set that's like underappreciated. That might be true. What are some recent underappreciated sets? Yeah, this is looking pretty grim. One Ring, Gemstone Caverns, stealing the play from your opponent, stealing the win from your opponent. Opponent. Flame of Andor to draw some cards. All right, well, we stuck a One Ring. We'll see if any of this even matters at this point. Is it too late? Pass the turn. What's a recent set that's been underappreciated? I'm curious. Gemstone Cavern Seymour play just indicates how crazy it all is. I mean, honestly, it seems like... I think it's a product of all the other fast mana being banned and modern Magic design making cards not very meaningful because everything generates card advantage. So, like, if your deck is full of things that generate card advantage, people have realized that having the right, 4 cards in hand is way more impactful than having 7 not that great cards in hand. So I think people are much more willing to go down a card for something like Gemstone Caverns, in part because it helps you have the right cards in hand, and in part because when there's One Rings and Uros and, just so much 2-for-1s, card advantage, you're gonna refill your hand anyway. Like, I can't remember the last time I saw someone out of cards. It just doesn't happen. You never look at it. Even look at us here. Like, we're gonna die with 5 cards in hand. We're gonna ride with 7 cards in hand if we lose this game. Like, you don't run out of cards. There's no top deck wars. It's not how it really works anymore. A lot of decks are playing Spell Pierce and discard, so the channel decks are not as prevalent as they were. That makes sense. I guess if you try hard enough, you can probably hate him out of the meta. Opponent gonna make some more rhinos. It's a lot of rhinos. It's a lot of rhinos. Perhaps too many rhinos for our purposes. Well, we untap. We take 1. How are we so far behind in mana here, too? Draw with the 1 ring. Play a land. I mean, that is what it is. Play a 1 ring. Opponent. Do you have a counter? Oh! All right. Commandeer in Modern. I mean, that's another good sign that having cards in hand is not very relevant. Discard your hand to to gain control of a spell. What a world the One Ring has brought with it. The One Ring has really changed the whole equation. I mean, it's really about the One Ring. Like, with the One Ring, like, what does it matter if you go down 3 cards? If you're stealing the One Ring, you draw back those 3 cards by the time your next turn happens. You commandeer the One Ring, tap it to draw a card, tap it again. You drew back all the cards you spent on it, and you have the One Ring, and your opponent doesn't have the One Ring, and you get protection. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's not even, is it even 3 for 1ing yourself, though, when you're hitting the One Ring? Well, that was an interesting league. So we started off 3-0, got scammed, got commandeered of all things, ended up with a 3-2. So let's crack our treasure chest. Let's see if we can open a One Ring. The One Ring would be the ideal open here. One of One Ring, or a Thunderblast. 5 mana, 7/2 haste. Has trample as long as it has a -1/-1 counter on it, and persist. I don't remember this card ever being good. Was Thunderblast ever good? It's kind of a cool design. You get like the big ball lightning effect, but then it only gets trample once it dies once, and it comes back with persist. You won't get protection. The ring says, if you cast it. Is that actually how it works? You might be right. Well, regardless, the protection I don't think is the main reason. The main reason that's good. Yeah, ball lightning. What a classic archetype. So what do we learn about Emeria in 2023? And I think we got to see the the good and the bad. We got to see that Martyr's Hands and Abiding Grace, it can really grind out victories. We got to see the One Ring be ridiculous. We got to see Eagles of the North cycle for lands, I guess. But the deck felt pretty good. But then in our last couple rounds, we kind of ran into just like the most over the top like scammy decks and the Rhino decks, like the best decks in the format. And it turns out that those decks are really, really powerful and good at doing their thing. Interesting to see the Commandeer tech. Maybe we gotta play some more Commandeer because stealing the One Ring does seem pretty sweet. But I would say Emeria, it seems playable and it seems pretty good. How it matches up against those like super top tier best decks in the format, that's still TBD. I had a judge question because of Beseech the Mirror. Wouldn't Gaia's Will resolve first and exile the mirror when it hits the graveyard? Or does that work like that because casting a spell is part of the resolution of the spell? So that would be a good question to ask a judge to confirm, I guess. But I believe, so let's see, Beseech the Mirror and then Gaia's Will. Let's look these up real quick. So Beseech the Mirror, Gaia's Will. So Gaia's Will, it says, Till end turn, you may play lands, cast spells from your graveyard. If a card we put in your graveyard from anywhere this turn, exile that card instead. So I think what'll happen is you'll Beseech the Mirror. Beseech the Mirror, I don't believe will still be on the stack, right? So you bargain it. So I don't think it could still be on the stack, because wouldn't you just go... Couldn't you just get a spell copying effect and, like, copy the Beseech the Mirror? So I think the Beseech the Mirror has to be... The way it resolves, I believe it will be in the graveyard before it resolves, right? So I'm pretty sure that works as intended. So I believe that the whole spell has to resolve before you can cast the other thing. So you search up the Gaia's Will, the Beseech the Mirror resolve and go in the graveyard, and then the Gaia's Will resolve. And then anything that goes in the graveyard after that would be a problem. But does Beseech the Mirror Velky work? If the spell was bargain, you may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost if that spell's mana value is 4 or less. I think they worded Beseech the Mirror to keep that from working. I guess we'll have to read the rules, but I believe the way that's worded, it sounds to me like you search for the spell. If the mana value of the spell is 4 or less, you can cast it. Otherwise, it goes to your hand. So I'm imagining that you couldn't cast the Tibalt side because it wouldn't meet the if it's 4 or less clause. So yeah, checks the spell, not the card. So I think the way it's worded, I think they worded this sneakily in a way to specifically stop that interaction from happening. With that if in there, with the if it's 4 or less. So I'm pretty sure you can tutor it up, but you can't actually cast it. But anyway, everyone, I believe that brings us to the end of our stream for today. So we will be back Thursday with some Wilds of Eldraine early access. If you got some decks, send them in. I got a bunch of brews, but I would love to see your decks as well. So reminders on the way out the door. Replay YouTube, that's where you'd find all the old streams, including this one in the future. Normal YouTube, tons of stuff coming up on there. One more reminder that our sponsor today is Card Kingdom. If you need some magical cards, you can get them from cardkingdom.com/mtdgoldfish. Most importantly, thank you to all of you. Y'all are amazing and awesome and spectacular. And I love you all so very much. I hope you have an amazing night. Have a great Wednesday. And I'll see you on Thursday for some Wilds of Eldraine action. So until then, be good, everyone. I love y'all. And I will talk to you soon.